you very much.
We can hear you. Good afternoon.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. My name is David Adebsoye, and I am the Associate Director of Administration for the network, which is African Researchers Network. I am an advocate of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 4, where I focus on improving quality education in rural communities in Africa. And currently, I'm undergoing my master's degree in African Sustainable Communities in Israel. And yeah, so I welcome you all to today's workshop. So I'll start by doing a brief introduction regarding the network for some of us who are new to knowing about the African Researchers Network. So the network is actually an academic hub that is actually open to both African and non-African researchers. Membership spans across various academic disciplines and also include PhD researchers and early late career scholars from various universities in Europe, America, Canada, and many African nations. Our objectives are to enhance collaboration and networking, to share information on job opportunities and life generally across the globe. We also discuss our publications and ongoing research to improve our visibility of African scholars as well as authors. And we also bring African insights into an interdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary approach to research teams across the globe. And we do a lot of activities, of which one of our activities include organizing monthly webinars and workshops, just like what we're having today, with a focus on Africa or on topic that would enhance our professional development. We plan to organize a yearly conference on issues relating to methodologies or approaches to doing research in Africa. We also provide a collaborative framework for various research projects with stakeholders in the US, UK, Canada, and Africa, including funding bodies, research institutions, as well as publishers. And we enable context for academic interaction towards minding cultural gaps between learning and teaching in Africa and Europe. So that's just a little introduction about the network. And for more information about us, you can actually visit our LinkedIn page. I'm actually going to drop the link on the chat box, or you can as well explore our YouTube page to see videos of our past webinar series and to know more about us. So for today, basically, I'm glad you all are here. We will be having a workshop on ChatGPT and academic research. And we have two instructors to actually conduct this workshop. We have Augustine Fariola, as well as Dr. Emmanuel Dansu. So right about now, I'm just going to read the bio of our first instructor, who is Augustine Fariola. So basically, he has 9 years of experience in multimedia management, ICT training coordination, IT consulting, and WordPress web management. He's a skilled front-end web developer. He has a proven track record in website maintenance, online platform creation, multimedia presentation design, research material provision, and e-learning tool development. His diverse expertise allows him to adapt to various project requirements, showcasing his versatility as a capable front-end web developer. Augustine's academic career lies in the field of philosophy, of technology, and digital humanities. He has presented several workshops in the UK in the use of digital research tools, and his latest publication is titled Hermeneutical Post-Phenomenology, I beg your pardon, Computational Tools and the Lure of Objectivity, Journal of Digital Scholarship in the Humanities 2023, and is the current director of the Network of Administration. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Augustine to please take over the floor.
Thank you very much, Brother David, for the introduction, and special thanks to all our esteemed participants for today's workshop. I believe that we have entered the classroom and we are here to have not just a front, or we can say first encounter with ChatGPT, but we want to have a professional encounter in the way it's going to enhance our research and our productivity. So we are having this recording not to like this year we have been having workshops, but the recordings are not used they are not pasted on YouTube. They are only posted in the Google Classroom for the sake of privacy and for the sake of those of us who attended this workshop to be able to have access to it later on to practice. So we're enjoying us to on our videos, if it's possible, and to have this like more or less a conversation. So it's not a kind of a one-way experience because we are professionals in our various fields. And so let's first of all have a kind of a visual encounter, a kind of let it appear like a workshop first. So I will enjoy those. If you can on your camera so that it won't be that we're speaking to ourselves or looking at ourselves. Be able to see at least 4, 5, 6 out of 18 people that are here. Be able to have few people that are well seated that we can really see your face and have that face-to-face encounter with you. You know, and that's the first thing. And then the second thing is in the chat, for the sake of the other facilitators as well as myself, to be able to meet your needs during this workshop, we advise you to write down your expectations and to introduce yourself, especially 4 important things are necessary. We need your area of studies, you know, your research area. That's the first thing you should take notice of. So when you drop that in the chat, that will really help us to tailor today's sessions to your need, other parts of today's sessions to your need. The second thing is also to list out or state your expectations. If you have been using ChatGPT before, you can indicate that in the chat. I have been using ChatGPT, but this is what I hope to get today, or this is an aspect I want to understand. I'm going to discuss from a privileged point of view of ChatGPT because I belong to a group where I was added to and where the developers are and where some of the stakeholders are and where we have a sort of user experience. And part of the tips and some of the things is what is going to be very helpful for us because we need to first of all understand what ChatGPT is all about. For those who have been using it, I'm not going to just give a kind of a kind of elongated discussion on that, but I'm just going to go straight to the classroom where I think all of us have access to. And then we take a look at 5 important things that I identified about what ChatGPT is all about. So let's if you have access to the classroom, please. If you don't have access, the link. So some of the instructors or one of the instructors is going to drop the link in the chat so that you have access to that classroom. Sorry, we call it classroom, but it's supposed to be a workshop room, but we're using a Google Classroom. So don't feel it's a classroom as a place for us to also deliberate. So some people say like classroom, you know, going back to classroom when you don't. So this is what we have there. And introduction to ChatGPT, the first 6 points you need to know is simulate a persona, which means that you have to have it in mind that you are talking to a person. So, and that's the best way to get a productivity. So you have to assume that that is your TA. You understand something? So you have to assume that you are speaking to your TA or to your secretary or to your, friend or to your partner. So it is in that way that you'll be able to know what to say to ChatGPT. Then the second thing is you know that you write your task. Yeah. And the third one is outline the task steps. You have to state the steps, because the truth is this, that the main thing with ChatGPT is what you give is what you get. And it was made from what we can say a collections of data with a lot of statistical model. And what it does is it does not understand what is given out. But it's the only thing it has been trained with several data. And it's from that data it will combine together to give some kind of meaning that will fit the input you have inserted. And then it's another thing is give it a context. Then you specify the goal and then you format the output. The mistake some people are making is that they think that, oh, ChatGPT will help you to write an essay. Oh, it's going to be, is an AI that is going to do this. It's not going to do that for you. You're going to do that for yourself. And even whatever input that it has, you have to format it. And that is why the developers will say that you don't need to reference ChatGPT as a scholar. And then there's conversation about the ethics too. You don't need to worry about, because it's not creating something that you did not have an impact in shaping what it is. And that is just a general introduction to what ChatGPT prompt framework is all about. I know that you can read all of that in the chat, but we wouldn't allow the workshop to be a kind of conversation, but it's going to be a sort of practical engagement. So I'm using this ChatGPT. I know that you should have access to that, but let me just drop that in the chat. So I expect you with your mobile phone or with your, what we call it, or your computer. Computer will be the best. So we have that. So you can log into that. But what you're going to see is going to be different based on the ChatGPT you subscribe to. So if you look at, for instance, if you see the account I'm using a paid account, right? And I'm also, there's another thing is you can have a paid account, but there's not so much difference between a paid account and a non-paid account. The major difference is just the speed. And last week, like let's say for instance now, last week a new version was released. So even if you're using a ChatGPT Plus, you have access to this ChatGPT Plus by having a subscription. But if you don't have subscription, no problem. It's still going to work fine. And then, you know, when you talk about the version, now there are, for if you're using unsubscribed one, if you talk about, it has a lot of version talking about dates in which the version you're using. So you're going to see that below it when you click on that. But for the sake of this one, like the basic versions that has been made, we have 3.5, which is the default. And that means that's the one you should have access to. It's good in reasoning and speed and concise. So let's say, for instance, now I take 3.5, which is the default, and I just say, what should be the question that we should just first of all ask? So let's say, as my teaching assistant, let's say teaching assistant, yeah, list some books that will be needed to teach introduction to artificial intelligence. Let's say artificial intelligence, yeah. So introduction to artificial intelligence. So that is the version that all of you have access to, right? And it's just going to list for us, right? So now you remember when I started the introduction, I said, you have to first of all talk about the context. Who are you speaking to? And who is the person? So I'm saying as the social person now, that's what I want you to do. So that's, if I have a TA and I want to teach artificial intelligence, this is exactly what I would do. Go to the library and get it. And I would say, okay, give me this list using Harvard referencing style, you know, Harvard referencing style, so that, you know, I can just push this straight into the what we call the model for teaching, and then it's having a list of that, you know. And I hope this will help. Now you see that the difference between the version has to do with the output. Now let's take the same question, right? So you will be able to determine, now that you have an understanding of what ChatGPT is all about, and then you talk about Moses. So let's pick a new chat, right? And take a new chat and take 4.0, and then just give the same question. So as my TA, okay, say I'm happy, you see, so this new version speaks to you more or less as a friend, and how, or as my TA will say, okay, I'm happy to do that for you. And then, so you can see the difference between that, but you know, it's just a minute difference. And I think it can list more, maybe it will list more than what the the 3.5 listed, which is the free version of the ChatGPT. So, but it can still list the exact thing based on, so yeah. So we're already having 5, but this guy here, okay, he gave 5 here too above. So let's go back to that. So where is that one that we have now? The 4.0. Okay, let's scroll up. So let's regenerate that. I think I interrupted that. So okay, so as a teaching assistant, I recommend the following books. Yeah. Now, the speed is very important, because the speed at which it put it, if your system is not fast, it's going to stop at a point and stop listing. But if the system is fast, just keep listing based on the one that fits what requested for. And then I can talk about what we call it, the referencing style you should use, and maybe you should look for a particular page that I would like to, look at. And I can even ask you to summarize some of this. You can tell your TA to summarize a book for you, so that you will be able to know whether you need it or not. So that's just to introduce ChatGPT as you are speaking to a persona, and then you are providing a context, and you are providing a sort of a prompt that you engage with. And I will advise you, if you can experiment with 3.5 first before you start paying. And you see on the left-hand side, you see it listing a memory. So everything you're searching for is not lost. Like if I scroll down now, you will see that it will keep showing and showing and showing. This is not just like each of them is not for each day that I use it or different charts that I open. But for me, I used to categorize it, so that because it's becoming a kind of a library for brainstorming. So you categorize, like, let's say, for instance, I'm working on JavaScript algorithms overview. So I put it here. So what will be here in this particular thing where things I've been asking it concerning, let's say, JavaScript, or let's say I'm working on the cultural institute, and something like that. So one of the major things, and one thing you can also do is to keep a record of what you're doing. If you open a new chart, right, you can rename it. If you take a version, I take 4.0, and then you can, edit it and rename it. So let's say this one, we said this one is for the, what we call it, workshop, ARN workshop. So you just rename it, and then you say, I'm okay with that. And that helps you to organize your work. If you want to update, or you want to upgrade, right, you just click on my account and upgrade or log out. But most importantly, we're going to go into breakout room now. We want to ensure that everyone here have their system opened. They have their ChatGPT access to it. So we have 3 instructors. We are 3 instructors at this workshop. I was introduced. The next instructor will be introduced to. You have met David, Dr. Emmanuel Dance, a very versatile person, and expertise in mathematics and in programming too. So it's like, as they used to say, the big masquerade comes in at some point. So what's going to happen is but you're going to have encounter with him in the breakout room now. So we're going to have breakout room where you're going to show, and I will enjoy, because one of the things we do with this workshop is we limit participants, because we really want to deal with those who will enjoy and those this thing will be beneficial to. So I will enjoy you, show your face when you are with with the instructor in the session you assign. It's random assignment. So when you're in the instructor, engage, and then they have some prompts based on your field. So even if you don't have some things to ask, they have it in that session of the classroom. So we are working on this now in the Google Classroom, what we can say prompting, right? And the instructors will put it. So what I'm going to do now is to just assign us randomly to our breakout room, right? I think, David, I think that's the next thing, right?
Yes, that's correct. So right now we will be joining the breakout room. So like Augustine have said earlier, there are 3 instructors and each of the instructors will be in this breakout room.
Okay, so let me do this, right? So in room 1, we're going to have Dr. Emmanuel Dansu in room 1. So let me take him there. So Dr. Emmanuel Dansu, move to, okay, it's going to be, yeah, room, what are the rooms showing? Room 2, right?
Room 2, room 3, room 4.
Okay, so we're going to name this, right? We're going to name that room 2. If we can just name it to Dr. Emmanuel's room, but let's just room 2, which becomes our own, is where we have Dr. Emmanuel has gone there now. I think he should be there, or is going to go there. And then room 3, we're going to have David. So David is going to be in room 3. David, can you join it yourself?
Yes.
Okay, so you join it yourself. And room 4, so the another instructor will be in room 4. I just want to know, are we okay with it? So that, do we want to be assigned to it? Can we see the rooms? Can somebody just represent? Are you able to see the breakout rooms? Participant, please. Are you able to see the breakout rooms?
No, sir, not yet. I've not seen the breakout room.
Okay, who has spoken, please? Who is that?
It's Esperance. Esperance, yes.
Experience.
Esperance,
okay.
yeah.
Thank you very much. So I can just take you now, room 2. So the next person, please.
I have not seen my own room.
Name, please. Just give your name. Please, your name, please. If you give your name, and then I will just move you straight.
Olade.
Okay, let me take Ezekiel Yekomi. So you go to room 3 now. And Oladele Dari to room 2. Who else is in? Please name.
Able.
Okay, I got Adetutu. So we have room 3. Able,
yes.
Abel. We have room 2 with Dr. Emmanuel Dansu. Next person, please. Joshua, you have your hand up.
Yes, Joshua Wotobe is here.
Okay, please, Joshua Wotobe, say we have room 3. And
Chris Onova.
We have, so room 4, you'll be in room 4, but I'm going to join you. So I'm going to join you in room 4. Should I take him back? Okay, you should know that I will join him there. And then who else is in that is active?
Rebecca.
Pardon. Okay, so you go to room 4 and I will join you there. Who else is in that is active? Okay, we have Joshua has gone. Who is in? So that I will, before I leave the main room, because I know some people.
I'm not done. No.
What's the name, please?
Malton.
Okay, so please, room 4, tell them I will join them there, please. Malton. Who else again? Okay, so we have just people who are just joining us, and when they settle in, so I see Yemisi Ola is raising up hand. So please go to room 4. You join there. Who else again? Olatime Rokomi. So you go to room 2. Okay, sorry about that. So we just want to know. I was just like ensuring that we have the room balance, and then we are adding people, because sometimes when we have session like this, bots to use to join us. So Deji Ajayi is here. You have not been assigned, Deji. So it's only Deji that remains here, right? So if you have been assigned, you will just see breakout room by the session of wherever, and you will go to it. So who is still having hands up now? Joshua. I think Joshua must have gone there. So let's have So room 6. So we have everyone assigned now, yeah? And so I go now, breakout room. I go to room 4.
We can't hear you, sir. You're muted. Good afternoon, sir.
Sorry. Doctor, I don't know each respective person's title, but I would just be happy to just call you by your first name in this session. So we're in this session just for you to show your system, for you to talk about your own experience there. And I would plead, if it's possible to on your camera, that's okay. But if it's not possible, if you are the first person that you want to show your system, and basically what we want to do is for us to see you asking ChatGPT some questions and to see your experience so far. You know, so if you want to go first, you can raise up your hand and share your screen. You know, and then we'll be able to see that. I would plead, if it's possible to on a camera, please do so. You actually guarantee that this is just going to be shared privately, yeah? And it's not like we're putting you in public domain. So, Rebecca, do you want to go ahead and share your system?
I'm trying to put on my system, please. Yeah.
What about Christopher? Who has used it before?
Well, I've used it before.
Oh,
interestingly, I'm trying to log in with my phone.
Okay.
I wish I joined this earlier on my laptop, but let's see how that goes.
But if you join with your laptop, we admit you in. But if you can do that with your phone too, that's interesting. So I'll wait on you. What about Yemisi? Thanks so much, Christopher. What about Yemisi?
Yeah, I'm trying to get it on my phone.
Okay. I think phone is good. System too is good. So let's wait on that. What about, sorry, I'm calling people out. I just have to do this to ensure that this is how we run workshop, just to ensure that we meet the needs and we don't just talk over you and just show what we can do, but ensure that we actually meet you at where you are and attend to that. So, and Morten.
Yes, I'm trying to join with my phone too.
Oh, thank you. And Deji2. Deji Ajayi.
Yeah, I'm using my phone.
Okay, so most of us are using as phones, so that's good.
Good afternoon. I'm using my phone.
Thank you so much, DG. So that's very good. What with the task we are meant to do, basically now, is if you go to the classroom, then it will be advisable you use your computer if you have your computer, because that will help you to navigate. So if you go to the classroom, we have something we call experimenting. That's where we are. And we have prepared a lot of prompting templates. These are tested prompt templates. And I will tell you that, you know, this were like from the meeting of other developers and people who worked on it, as well as user experience, IT experts that this were obtained from. And these are standard templates. But what we're using this for is to show us something. So like before we said, as my TA, do this for me. But what we have is so that you won't be thinking of what to test it with for the first time. We have a collection. What's your own area? Are you a relationship coach? Are you a poet? Are you a rapper? Are you a motivation? Are you a philosophy teacher? Are you a math teacher? Are you an AI writer? So you can use this for the first time to first of all see how to engage with it in a productive way. That's what we talk about prompting. So you say, for instance, now, I don't know if somebody can use what's your field or who are you as so person, so that we can do that together as you are opening your device. So we want to take a lead first. So let me call people out so that I'll be able to like meet. So on my whatever I have Morten first. So Morten, who are you, sir? And what do you want to ask ChatGPT first based on your area of specialization? Martin?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Sir. Please, sir. Don't call me sir, please. So because if we call me sir, I'll call you sir. So let's just call. So yes, yes, Augustine,
Okay.
unless because I'm always scared of sir. Sir is a big title here in the UK.
Okay.
And
I'm a graduate assistant in computer science.
yes, brilliant. That's brilliant. And as a computer scientist, what do you want first to engage with this guy with? Complex things. Start with something complex.
Complex?
Yeah, something complex in your field,
Okay. Well, I'll just ask anything related to deep learning.
Okay, so what's the question? So let's say I want it to come from you. Like, what do you want to do on deep learning? You're planning to write a paper, you're trying to do something. What are you planning to do? You're planning to write a proposal, you're trying to write a PhD topic or a master's topic in it. What are you trying to do with deep learning?
Okay. Can I ask anything related to deep learning in medical?
Exactly. Anything. That's why we're here. Anything. But I just want to show you the shape of how you will ask it, that will generate it. So do as if you're asking me, what you want to find out from ChatGPT, and I will now write it for it, right?
Okay.
Just say it. Go ahead.
Okay. Deep learning for medical problems.
Okay. So
how do you use deep learning to solve medical problems?
Okay. And I will want you to state in details how to use deep learning for what?
To solve medical related problems.
Solve medical related problem. So it will start for you, yeah? So it will now start writing down there. So it said define the problem, and then it will, because we said in details. So we just said state in details. So it's going to state it and provide details. So what I want you to take note of is it's not for him alone, it's not just for Martin, but also for our own research. Anytime you're doing this first brainstorming, because you're just starting with the brainstorming, you say state and do what? And also explain or in details, so it will understand. And then it's narrowing it to deep learning in medical areas, right? And the natural thing that will come to mind after doing this is you want to know the list of books or the books that you need to read that are related to, and then you don't want it to be general. You just want it to be related to this aspect. But you know that we always have a research scope. So, deep learning in medical field is very big. Even though deep learning, you have narrowed it to medical. But now, as an expert, you will understand all that he has listed. You'll now be able to say, which area do you want to narrow it down to? Then when you narrow it down, and that's one of the base thing, like, is brainstorming. Like, this one is ChatGPT 4.0. It will continue to list until we stop it. Especially until it stop at a point, because it's a broad thing we have given him. Deep learning in medical field is broad, right? So let me see.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's very broad. So that's why it's listing them, right? And it's listing them and what we call it. And now I think it has stopped now. Yeah. And my own fear is just like presently we have some people in the breakout room. Some people are just entering and they have not been assigned breakout room, but that's for coming late. That's their own. So it will interrupt our section here because we need to leave here afterwards. So we have define the problem, collect this one, split the data, select the learning module, train the module, tune the hyperparameters, deploy the module. And then it said, remember the deep learning model in healthcare must be validated extensively and comply with regulation, this. Then it's from here you now take, you understand the sort of thing. What do you mean by, you understand the sort of thing, define the problem? And can you do that for me? Or can you do that for me? Yeah. Do you get the gist? So you can say, oh, define the problem. The first thing he asks you to do is define the problem. So you say, what do you mean by, what do you mean? You mean by, so you just start chatting with him like your friend, define the problem. Now you are referring to his own define the problem, right? And can you give me a template? So that's the level of familiarity. So it's going to respond. Yeah. So define the problem means this, and it's going to provide a template. So I'm going to leave that to you to experiment that on your end while we go to Yemisi or Latimeji. Please, Yemisi, what's your research area and what would you like to, and so that we experiment with another field too. So you can see for yours, it's already giving you a statement of problem and a template. And obviously, you're not going to give this the way it is, right? You're still going to edit it and all this other stuff.
Sure.
Exactly. And what it's doing is it's not fetching from one source. It's unlike when you copy from a website that has this template. It's giving your own customized, such that if you test it with plagiarism too, it will not be considered as plagiarized. Considered as plagiarized because it's your own. If somebody asks the same question, it's a different thing that you generate, and you can't ask the same way. And when you take it and you put your own, it will continue to write. If you say this template, I don't like it, give me another template. The same thing. Can you narrow the thing? And you keep chatting with him. Sometimes together we are together all night, just discussing. So Yemisi, please, what's your field, please? Yemisi Oladimeji.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm studying mathematics.
Okay.
Yeah. But then I just started my master's program, so I'm not into research yet.
Okay, so
I have to do coursework, then research.
What's the title of your project?
I've not started project yet.
Your first degree project? Your first degree. Okay, what's the title you were thinking about?
Now, numerical analysis. Yeah,
numerical
analysis.
Of what? What are you doing numerical analysis for?
Basically, I just want to know if I could get materials.
So can I get materials on numerical analysis? Just numerical analysis, right?
Yes, sir.
And so we won't say you won't understand material. So we say,
okay.
So we're going to reshape this and say, list. Okay, I intend so that you can understand your context. I intend embarking on a research in the field of mathematics, because you have the field of mathematics and numerical analysis. So you can put that in quotes, numerical analysis. Kindly please list some books I can consult. So to be doing that, I have to go to the main room. If I leave here, it's going to stop wherever. But I want to check. Some people are coming in and they're just wondering where are they, But so you can see now. Let me see what it's doing, right?
Yes, I can.
So it's going to list them and give you a summary of some of those books so that you'll be able to know this popular book focuses on this one. So you'll be able to, so that out of many that it lists, even if you stop listing, you say continue listing, it will keep listing. But it's giving you some hints so that you won't just, like, when we go to the library, then you stay all day, right? Trying to look for the book that is going to fit your exact work. And this is just the starting now. You're just starting. So you're just starting telling him you need some books. You have not started narrowing down to which topic and which one should he summarize. Can he lead expert in numerical analysis and all these other stuff? So that's just for you. So let's go to Christopher.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's go to Christopher. If you need this result that has done, I won't give you yet. I expect you to do that too on your end and share your experience. Then when you show me the one you get from this question, you know the prompt we gave it, right? You know the question, what we gave it. So I want you to go on your phone and give it that same question, right?
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So these are the books, bro. And then, so Christopher, please, let's go to your field.
Well, I'm also a computer scientist.
Good.
I recently completed my master's and I actually worked on machine learning algorithms
Good.
for detection of image-based spam emails.
Okay.
So
Machine
recently I
learning.
decided
Continue, please.
I decided I wanted to do a review article on recent trends on machine learning algorithms on image-based spam emails.
Okay.
And
So,
my and I actually did ask ChatGPT for such. I mean, for assistance. But you
yeah.
know what? I want you to do the same thing for me. I want to see where I probably must have gotten it wrong.
Okay. So, your main objective is you want to write a review.
Yes, a review on that subject area.
And the title is Machine Learning Algorithm on Spam Images.
I mean, image-based spam emails.
Okay, so we say on image-based, right?
Yes.
Spammed.
Spam email, not spammed. Yes, a spam. That's SPAM.
SPM.
Yes.
So image-based spam, that's it, right?
Spam emails.
Image again?
No, emails.
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 Okay,
Yeah.
emails. All right. Can you permit me to go to the main house and check those who are there and add them somewhere and rush back here?
Okay, no problem.
Please. All right. So I will allow the room to permit me to quickly leave this breakout room. If it's possible. Oh, no, it's possible for me to assign it to them here. So let me just bring them one by one. Room 3, and then assign to room 2, and then assign to room 4. We are so many there. So let's assign to room 7, right? To where we are. Right. Okay. So I think I've solved that. So I can be here. We welcome to the room. If we have those who are just joining us, so you're welcome to this room. The webinar started. Okay. So those are just joining us, you're welcome to the room. The webinar started earlier and we're in breakout rooms just to ensure that we meet the needs of other people. And we know that people have it already on their system for a start off. Okay, so we continue. We have worked on the prompts that is required by someone who is an expert in the area of, or who is trying to work on what we call it, on deep learning. And then we also worked on someone who is trying to look at artificial intelligence, and now we're working on someone who has been made a research, a master's research, right, on
Yes, it was.
on machine learning, but you want to make a review. Now, if you want to make a review, I want to understand it very well. Are you reviewing an existing book, or you want to know some works you can review? So
Yes,
that
I actually want to know the current trend in that field.
Okay, and what you mean by current trend is latest publications.
Exactly.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask the guy that, because when you use current trend, the guy is not going to understand because it's coded with certain instruction. So the way it's going to understand is, list, if you want to know a current trend in something like this, you may want to know the current scholars who are working on it, but you can say list latest publications on the topic. Yeah, this is the topic. So we're going to quote the topic, machine learning algorithm on image-based spams email. In which field? In the field of computers. Yeah?
Of course, machine learning.
In the field of computer
science, yes.
Yeah, in the field of computer science. Computer science. Yeah. So, but we have to give it another context so they can give you a narrow down whatever, and that's one of the things. So we said I would like to yeah. So so let's have this. Just a minute. Admit. Okay, and so we're gonna have this, right? Sorry, I I admitted some people, right, to the, what do we call it, to the session. They're just coming in, and then I quickly just want to like give them a room. Sorry to interrupt that. So let's look at breakout room and assign to room this, and then assign to room 3. Good, because this room is already filled, yeah, and we need to, so let's go back to where we are. That prompting is very important because you narrow it down. So where we're saying is I would like to make a book review or a review in using some resources. Please list latest publication on the topic machine learning, la 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 la. So we'll just end it there, right? And then we'll give it to him. Yeah, it's good. I'm seeing someone on in camera. It's good we're on our camera. So it makes me feel that I'm talking to someone. So as he said, now one thing you have to know, because all the data that were fed to this AI, the latest were input in September 2021. So it's going to just limit it. It has to start with it, that all the information I'm giving you, the all I've been trained with stop at 2021. So I'm going to cut at the resources. So you know that when we say latest it can provide is what? It can provide latest of September 2021. And now to find the latest publication is leading you to, you should go and check Google Scholar, you should go and check this one, you can check this one, but we still narrow down the discussion, the thing. So you can see that it's giving you a kind of a big umbrella, because what we are asking it is very big, yeah? So it's giving you a very big umbrella, right, for that, you know? So, well, I can stop it because it's not providing exactly what we need, right? Or is it giving you what you need? Was this what you got when you did it, Christopher?
Well, I got something close to that. At first, it asked me to go check Google Scholar,
exactly,
those links, and then by the time I now had to phrase, he said, "I'm sorry, I'm an AI language model. I don't have access to real-time updates and information about the latest publication. However, I can provide you some relevant publications." Now, it did give me some publication, but by the time I went to check those publications online, I discovered that some of them don't even exist.
Yes, so that's another area. That's another area. The imperfection is obvious. Like that was what one of the facilitators was discussing with me about, the whole issue of area not existing. Obviously, it fabricates. So I can't deny that fact. And they accept to it. I can show the Slack link where we have this conversation, the developers, is an AI. So it has a lot of data. So it's going to fabricate. So sometimes if it does not have some things, it looks for the latest statistical match from the models that are available to it. But now you can see that you have to test run some things. But the thing is this, like if you see, if there are 4 basic blocks that I use for when it comes to research of this nature. If I said, get me books, latest publications, right? It did not provide for me. I go straight to get me scholars. And then he's going to check from his database, right? And he's going to look at that topic that I've given. Like, you know, why there may be like now, what I gave you to why we're having that conversation is, since when we said, give us latest publication, and it said, oh, you go and find it out. These are journals and articles, whatever, and then you can go and find it out. So the second step is you speak to it and say, okay, list foremost scholars. Now it's going to check the data that it has been fed with, and then it identify, and then it's going to ensure that in the work, the output they have done, machine learning and algorithm on image-based spam emails is included. So you're going to have someone like Ion Adrospolus. Now, you can't copy this and go and paste it into your publication, because you have to confirm that this guy exists, because he could fabricate, you know. And there's Vato Santos, there is this guy, there is this guy, there is this guy. Now, when he gave me this guy, the next thing is I will now use it Like let's say, for instance, this one is maths. So, out of the 6 scholars, so I would say out of the list, the publications of the 6 scholars you listed above, 6 scholars mentioned in your response above. So I'm giving it back another thing to do. So it's now going to take, that's how to confirm those scholars exist. You understand something? But you can see that at the end of the day, we get our results, what we are looking for, the latest publication. So he said, this publication are related to spam detection, machine learning, or cyber whatever. Do you get it? So at the end of the day, you can see the proceedings from this with the page number. Do you understand now, my brother?
Yes, I do.
That what you are looking for at the onset, you got it. You got all the publications and you verify. It's not say, okay, now I know where this guy is going to. These are the guys, but this is what you asked for at the onset. So most times we do some kind of garbage in, garbage out, garbage in, garbage out. And for me as a person, for people who are in, let's say, in computer science, right? Or who are into software development and all these things, when it comes to all those core area, you need to do a lot of garbage in, garbage out. If I, for instance, I show, let's say my work on the 14th, yeah. So 14th of this month, like sometimes I use it to debug codes. You understand something? And at times, you have to do a lot of garbage in, garbage out. You have to and before you now drive him to do the exact thing, or sometimes I get a lot of error from the prompt, after running the code, and then I got a lot of error and all these things. I give it to him. Sometimes it takes some time to understand it, and then he will say, oh, okay, this is what you mean. And then I say, okay, you understand something, enter the key phrase for a passphrase for this, whatever, and then you automate it and all these things. So basically, at the end of the day, what you come up with, you are the one that did it. Do you get it, gist? You are the one that did it. Is your output, is your work, yes. Because you are the one that brainstormed. If somebody else brainstorm with it, it's going to give you a different thing. And not everyone, like people used to ask, how do you do your own? I will say, oh, I've solved the error in the code and I've already run the thing. The app is running. And they say, how do you do it? I say, ChatGPT. They will say, why? The same ChatGPT we're using. But the thing is also this back and forth. So let's take another person, another field because this particular session, we need to return. I need to broadcast so that every breakout room, people leave there and we'll come back to the general room to take the second session, which will be led by Dr. Emmanuel Danso. Who else, which field can we quickly brush through and prompt? Because what we are doing now is I expect you should be in the Google Classroom. You should have access to this prompt collection, experimenting. You should use these ones that are there as well as improvise with your own field. That's the first prompt you want to do, send me something. Okay. And then you should engage with it. Now, those who said they were using their phones to do something, any feedback from your experimentation?
I was using my system and I have feedback.
Good. Do you want to share that with us? You want to share your screen?
Okay,
Let me stop sharing. Yeah. So I think from the setting that I allow participant sharing. So try to share and let's see. Oh, okay. Advanced.
I didn't join with my laptop. I was hoping I could just put on my video and just turn it if you can see that way. Let me see.
Okay. All right. That's good. Okay.
I was hoping it could. Okay, I'm coming.
Do you want to click on the share screen? Okay.
I'm using my laptop.
All right.
Connected with my.
Brilliant.
So what did you do? I don't know if you can.
Yes, we can see it. What did you
I'm a graduate. Okay, I'm a grade assistant in the field of theater and performing arts.
Good.
So what I have queried is I have written, outline and explain the place of theory in the criticism of dramatic literature.
Okay.
And it gave me these responses. I don't know if you can see my screen. So it gave me the theories, formalist theories, Marxist theories, feminist, which are actually theories in dramatic criticism. Okay. Then I went on to say, expatiate on formalist theory. So it went on to give me this detailed explanation of formalist theory.
Yeah.
Then I even clicked on regenerate response or something like that. So it's generated.
I think you know how to ask questions very well. Or you know how to set question, because the way you are asking it, you know, at a point you said I'm an AI, but you know, based on this question
Yeah.
even I can still respond, and that's brilliant. And this is your first time of engaging with it.
Yes, yes.
Brilliant. And I'm so happy that this is running perfectly in Nigeria. People are complaining in India, they are having issue with it, but we're so lucky. And thank you very much, EMC, for that contribution. Deji is having his hands up. Deji, please go ahead, unmute yourself and speak to us.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Coordinator.
No, just Augustine.
Thank you so much.
Just Augustine. Right.
Okay, Augustine, thank you. I have a question. My area of specialization is material science.
Okay.
And I do research on semiconductor materials.
Material science.
That can find applications in solar cells. Presently, that is what I do.
So you do research in the area of semiconductor.
Is there a way that one can instruct this OpenAI to give citations of information provided?
Okay. Okay. So, Mr. Deji, are we still together? Deji.
Hello.
Deji, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So if I understand you very well, you were working in the area of semiconductor material.
Yes, semiconductor material.
In the field of material science.
Yes.
And what you want to do now is maybe do you want to write a book, or you want to write, or you want references of books?
Yes. No. What the question I'm asking is those this OpenAI gives a lot of information.
Yes.
Now, those information that is given, is there a way that we can get citations?
Okay, in the area of material science. So you want...
Do you understand me?
Exactly. So let's say, for instance, you said it give a feedback. So let's say, for instance, now, you say, what is... I understand what you mean. You say, what is semiconductor material, right?
Yes.
And then when it gives the answer, you want it to give the reference.
Yes, thank you very much.
Exactly. So let's say, what is semiconductor material? It defines it. I don't want it to overdo. If it starts overdoing, I will stop it. So it defines it. After the definition, you now want to ensure that it has reference, and that is true. That's what I do when I develop resources, like teaching resources. So most times I have to put the references there, and it does it. So let's do that for you. It will start definition. Once you just say what is something, it will show that it's so bright. I want to stop it there. And then I will say, give references in Harvard style. It depends on the journal you are sending to. Harvard style with their page number, so that you know the page number you got it from. Page numbers. So give references to the response. You have to refer to the response above and provide it in Harvard style with their page number. The reason why I put page number is so that it won't give us a dump, what do we call it? A dump reference. So if it's able to identify the page number, that means it exists. So it says based on the response that's given above, you know, we stop it because it will continue to just, so, but now it's now saying based on those definitions above, and which means you can just take this and reference it. So you just reference that definition, that's first paragraph. The second paragraph, you know, we stop it on the second paragraph. And then you can ask it to paraphrase, you can ask it to whatever, or you can open the book. So sometimes when I'm developing for a big profile or a big course, I check the book myself to ensure that it's confirmed, but it has done the groundwork for me. So instead of having so many books open and all these things, remember, when you give the prompts, you give it the Harvard, the style. It could be Chicago style, it could be Harvard style, you know. So If there is no time, does that answer your question? And is that
yes?
All right.
Yes, thank you very
if
much.
there is no response, then we leave now to go to the main house, right? To go to the main room so that we can hear from another instructor before we now meet again for the third session. So thank you very much. Is there any question? No question? Based on what we have done in this chat, in this group. So can we leave now? You leave don't leave the meeting. So you say leave breakout room. That's what you're going to do. Leave breakout room, okay? So you click on that and I want to, their instructors, broadcast, yeah? Dear instructors, please, I will employ that we come back to the main room. If you can hear me, instructors, let's come back to the main room. I wish all instructors can hear me. So I'm just making this broadcast. Dear instructors, thank you so much for this session. We are done with this section. Please, let's come back to the main room for the second session. Kindly come back to the main room for the second session. So enjoy and inform your participants in your room to click on leave breakout room. Don't leave the meeting. Thank you very much. Hello. Thank you so much.
Welcome back.
Thank you so much. I think David, is this the time for us now to go to do the second session by Dr. Emmanuel?
Yes, that's okay, correct.
Do we need to take a 5 minutes break, all of us, or we should just go straight to it?
Please, let's go straight to it.
Okay, so let's go straight to it, yeah. So please go ahead with the profile of Dr. Emmanuel, and then we'll go straight to it, yeah?
Okay, very much. So I believe we were able to learn one or two things in our first section, especially at the breakout room, which I believe was quite educative. So right now, our next section will be anchored by Dr. Emmanuel Dansu. Dr. Emmanuel has a PhD degree in mathematics and computer science from Tohoku University in Japan, where he was a Japanese government mixed scholar. He's currently a lecturer in the Department of Mathematical Sciences, School of Physical Sciences, Federal University of Technology, Akure, Nigeria. He's currently a postdoctoral guest researcher in the Ecological Integration Lab of Tohoku University, Sendai in Japan. And he's currently exploring ways of using data to make sense of his mathematical models in the population dynamics for biological and social systems. Emmanuel is fascinated by mathematics, mathematical modeling, scientific computing, and data science. He has taught this at different levels and is constantly looking for new ways of communicating them to others. The advent of ChatGPT is revolutionizing the world as we know it, and is open to embracing its use within ethical limits. Emmanuel is the current director of research for the African Researchers Network. And yeah, he welcomes you all to this training. So without further ado, can we all give Emmanuel a virtual clap while he takes over the floor? Emmanuel, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much for the introduction. And thank you, our convener, Mr. Augustine. Thanks a lot for this great opportunity. Yes, of course, we've been having a nice time right here. So, leaving the breakout session, we're able to establish the fact that ChatGPT is very wonderful. Dr. Dijajaya, I see you. Thanks for being part of this. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's been a long time, sir. So, it's okay. I think I also have. Okay. Yeah, I see you, Rebecca Pardon. Thank you for being here. Yes. So we saw there that though ChatGPT is very fascinating, but for us as researchers, we have to use it with caution. So I mentioned there that we should we should we should let it. It's more like a support for us, not taking over our job. For instance, if you have an assignment and you just type it on ChatGPT and you just copy it and submit, you can get into trouble, you know. But one thing I just I said in the class was you could, so if you, it is very good for brainstorming, like uh Dr. I like to call him Dr. Augustine, like you mentioned before. So it's very, so if you are new to, there's an idea that just comes to your head that you have not encountered before, there's a kind of interference, a distraction, a noise coming from somewhere, I don't know where. Mm,
Can we all mute our mic except for Dr. Emmanuel, please?
Okay, I think it's better now. Maybe it was my earpiece, I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm like, for researchers, you have to be very careful about that. So you don't just copy something from ChatGPT and submit. In fact, there are software now that will make your work appear if it is from ChatGPT or not. So the best thing is let it guide you and not take over your whole thing. And another thing is, if you ask ChatGPT for a list of books on something, it can give you 500 lists. But if you look for some of them, you won't find them because it is an AI tool, right? It knows how a reference looks like. So it can bring names from everywhere and put a topic. It can even cook up its own topic and tell you a publisher and everything, and it won't be correct. So I mean, it still has its own limitations, but it's a powerful tool if you know how to use it, right? So okay, let's start on a very interesting note. For me, I mean, as a mathematician, basically, I like to see how it works around the things that interest me. Then I'm into languages. I love languages a lot. So maybe we can start on that note. Somebody was asking about ChatGPT doing some multimodal stuff. Of course, it doesn't just work on only text. It works on of course, it's work in progress. So as time goes on, you can see it taking working with pictures, graphs, and everything. So of course, before we go on, I know most of us are used to the language pidgin, right? So in my curiosity, and I was just like, guy, so I was talking to ChatGPT, and I'm like, you sabi speak pidgin? You sabi speak pidgin? So, and the guy is like, maybe to answer first in English. So it's thinking, and then it begins to say something. This is taking too much time. Why? Okay, now it has started. Yes, I sabi speak pidgin. Wetin you want make I talk for pidgin? So and I'm like, okay, give me give me 5 pidgin proverbs. And it's like, sure, here are 5 pidgin proverbs. Person who knows sabi, na him sabi pass. Translation: the person who doesn't know is the one who thinks they know the most. Meaning, people who are ignorant tend to be most confident. 2, rain will fall for fowl yansh, no be rain will go make and fly. Translation: all that. 3, when man they chop, they look mouth. With all the translation, small pikin wey dem carry for back, no know the journey they go. 5, monkey no fine, but in mama like am. I mean, this is, I mean, there's an element, maybe after you have worked and your head is full, you can just come for some comic relief, right? Then, now for those into languages, right? And because I'm also fascinated by language, for instance, I'm Egun from Badagry. I speak Ogu. I speak Yoruba. I speak English. I speak French. Speak some Japanese, little Hausa, little Igbo, like that. So, and one day I was just curious that, oh, guy, can you speak Japanese? And it actually answered. So, but of course, because of the writing script, my keyboard, maybe I've not mastered how to use my keyboard to write Japanese stuff. But I told you I also speak. Okay, let's even start now. You've seen Pidgin, like, right? Let's go to Yoruba. Okay, let me just say something like àwọn fáwẹ́lì Yoruba, àwọn fáwẹ́lì Yoruba. I'm not able to put army because of my keyboard. If I was using my phone, it would have been easier. I'm sorry, but I don't understand what you mean. I mean, this guy still has its own limitations, right? Can you please clarify your question? Ṣé o gbọ́ Yorùbá? Ṣé o gbọ́ Yorùbá? And it's like, okay, you see, abéèrè yìí, ó sì ń ṣe nígbà tí mo sì gbọ́ Yorùbá. What's this? Is this supposed to be ìbéèrè yìí? Ó sì ń ṣe nígbà tí mo sì gbọ́ Yorùbá. Báwo ni mo lè ràn ẹ́ lára? I mean, you see, it's still, so as far as Yoruba language is concerned, it has not really fully developed. So we need more Yoruba users to interact with it to actually show it the way to go. I mean, that's how basically it works. So, okay, so that's about that. But of course, for more established language, well, should I say established? Because it's international, so to speak, like French, maybe it has a grasp. And one thing you learn in French is you learn how to conjugate verbs. In fact, the core of French is how to, if you can get your verbs conjugated correctly, then you can actually get to use things. And I remember in my French class back in Badagry Grammar School, we had 3 basic groups of languages, of verbs, right? The ER verbs, the very common ones like parler, aller, and no, aller is even not the regular one. So, but the ones like ER verbs, IR verbs, and then the irregular ones. So let's take something like parler. So maybe I just start and I'm like, tu parles français, tu parles français. So it says, oui, je parle français. Que puis-je faire? Que puis-je faire pour vous? What can I do for you? And I'm like, conjuguer le verbe parler, parler. So now the conjugation is like, how do you use it? To parler is to speak, right? How do you use it in French? Like, I speak, you speak, they speak, she speaks, and all that. I know there are, there's present, there's past, and there's future. So, voici la conjugaison du verbe parler au temps le plus courant, like in current, okay, the current times. So in present tense, like, je parle, tu parles, il ou elle parle, nous parlons, vous parlez, il ou elle parle. And then it gives you imperfect tense, like an action that is yet to be complete. And it's like, je parlais, tu parlais, il ou elle parlait. So if you're learning French, I mean, if you're learning any language, in fact, this is a very good tool for you. Then there is the past one, passé composé, that's j'ai parlé, I had spoken, tu as parlé, you had spoken, il ou elle a parlé, and all that. So, and then still on with that, and then there's future tense, je parlerai, I'm going to speak, tu parleras, you're going to speak, and all of that. So nous parlerons, vous parlerez, and everything. So it's so it gives you all the different tenses for the verbs. And in French, once you can conjugate the verbs, all you just need is some other attachment here and there to get things going. Yeah, so that's I don't know if I've done enough on languages. Which other language? Japanese. I should have done Japanese, but my keyboard. Okay, let me use Romaji to speak to do some Japanese. So if I want to ask you, do you speak Japanese? To be like Nihongo. Nihongo is Japanese. Nihongo dekimasu ka? Nihongo dekimasu ka? And it's like, okay, well, maybe because I don't know what it's going to give me. Okay, now you can see it's speaking to me in Japanese. So it's like, hi, Sukoshi Nihongo ga dekimasu. Like it's like I speak a little bit of Japanese. Dozo, nanka shitsumon ka arimasu ka? Like what questions do you have? You know, so though I wrote in the Roman style, it's answering me using Japanese scripts. So what can I ask it now? Nihon no uh Nihon no ryuri. Nihon no ryuri is like Japanese foods. Nihon no ryuri. And then it begins to list. I'm not able to read all the kanjis. So I mean, to be very sure of that, I'm when it comes to all these Chinese characters, I'm still a learner in most of these things. So I mean, it's listing a lot of Japanese foods. At least I can read the second one, which is udon. Udon is like this noodles. There's oden. There's tempura. Tempura is my best Japanese food. Tempura is like all this thing you put in flour and fry them. That's tempura. So I mean, I can pick all these ones out. So I mean, that's about languages. So you can actually use this to learn languages. You know, for those who come from non-English speaking places, and you know, English is the language of commerce, research, and all of that globally these days. So you can actually deepen your knowledge of English. So maybe I should leave languages for now and move to mathematics. Now, I remember the first time I asked ChatGPT for 18 combination for those who are who are aware of combination and permutation. You know, those are some very key things in maths that I mean that forms the foundation of counting, selection. You know, permutation is about arrangements, and we get to arrange things every time. And combination is about selection. For instance, you are a football coach and you have 18 players, and there's a particular game you need only 4 players. And the question is, in how many possible ways can you select 18 4 players out of 18? So you can actually write it. There are many ways in which you can write it. You can write the simple thing like 18 combination 4 or 18 select 4, or you can actually write it in words like in how many ways, in how many ways can I select, can I select 4 players, 4 players out of 18. So, and then you know it takes time and begins to tell me plenty stories. You can select 4 players out of 18 in combination 18 for that. Take 18 take a select 4, where C and R represent the number of combinations of R objects that can be chosen, and then it does the maths. Now, I asked it in the breakout session, and it did a more elaborate explanation. Am I there yet? Okay, you know, I was asking for all the we had a Beninois in class, so I asked ChatGPT to give me a list of all the presidents that ever in Benin from independence till date. You know, it gave us that. So so I asked about all presidential elections starting from 1960. It gave me. I asked it about what the elections before the independence, and it also gave me the years and how they happened. So I'm trying to locate that one. Okay, yeah, this is a question about. I just said 18 combination 4, and then it went ahead to break it down and everything. So let me ask about. So I mean, this is about combination now. So can I say integrate? Now, interestingly, ChatGPT answers math question using LaTeX. So I know we did a LaTeX training in ARN a couple of weeks back. So, so if I just say integrate, so I'm writing it in LaTeX form now. Integrate. Okay, well, let me even write it normally. I know it will just do its own thing. Integrate x squared. Let's see what it gives us. To integrate x squared, we can use the power rule of integration, which states that if f of x is x raised to power n, then the indefinite integral of f of x with respect to x is f of x, which is x raised to power n plus 1 over n plus 1. That is accurate. And then it goes ahead to do something like that. So now it just did it like it's explaining to me, but I wanted to do it in a form that I can just copy to LaTeX. Can you do it in LaTeX? Can you do it in LaTeX? In LaTeX. So, and then it's just sure the LaTeX code for integrating XCAD using the power rule, then it just goes ahead and writes some. So so all I can do is I can just copy this thing now. I copy it to LaTeX and run it, and it just gives me that beautiful looking thing. Maybe I should actually do that so you can see how that is actually for real. But I have to stop sharing this for some time. Yeah. Okay. Let me see that. Okay. Hope this is not a distraction. Okay. I think I'll have to do this. Okay. Let me drag this to the side. So I know for now you're still seeing ChatGPT, right? Why am I not able to open this? Why? Can this go? All right, wizards, quick start. Let's pick something. Okay, let me just go. Okay. Now, so I want to stop sharing this. So now I'm copying that thing it gave me in LaTeX. So I want to copy it so I can, so I stop sharing this, and then I share my LaTeX script, my LaTeX environment. This is the LaTeX environment. Can you see that? Can you see the LaTeX environment, please? I'm not getting a response. After, okay. Okay. So nobody's answering. I want to believe everybody's hearing me, so it's okay. All right. So this is the LaTeX environment. So I just go put it and then try to run it. So can this go? Yes, I run that, and then it gives us, it produces the PDF document, and then you can see the PDF document right in that page. So, and that is how that is. So you just write it in LaTeX. So you just copy and paste and take it back. So then I go, let me go back to ChatGPT. Okay, so that's some math. What else can I talk about in mathematics? Of course, I'm only giving tips that you can explore on your own afterwards if you interact with math a lot. Yes, the other part is very interesting. I mean, if you are into programming using whatever language, ChatGPT is your friend. It's your serious friend. Now, I've learned, in fact, can you imagine? I've been using LaTeX since 2013, and I've been always wondering, how can I label an equation? Like you write out an equation and you want to name the components of the equation. You want to tell us, okay, this component means this component means that. It was ChatGPT that finally was able to help me clarify that, and I've always been looking for the way out. I've Googled, I've done all that until ChatGPT. So now for now, like I like Python a lot. Of course, for obvious reasons, it's one of the most popular languages for whatever, for data science, web design, and all of that. And so, of course, like in my profile, you saw that I'm really interested in scientific computing, right? So I get to do scientific computing and data science from time to time. Now, I'm trying to think of a concept. Okay. There's a concept in calculus, that's the Taylor's theorem. You can convert transcendental functions like sine, cos, tan, like trigonometric functions, exponential functions, logarithmic functions, rational yeah, functions like that. Though they are not polynomials, right? But the Taylor's theorem helps us to actually write them as polynomials, and then you can also compute them and plot, because they are just approximations, you're going to have errors. So what I'm going to tell ChatGPT to do for me is to express say ln x as a polynomial. Let's see what it is going to do with that. Express ln x as a polynomial. Okay, now see what it is telling me. X is a non-polynomial function defined as the logarithm of x. Now that is one information it has, right? Which is correct. It is a transcendental function and cannot be expressed as a polynomial. But that is half truth. So I say use Taylor's theorem. Use Taylor's theorem. Use Taylor's theorem. Use Taylor's theorem. So we can use now. Can you see the same guy that said it could not do ln x as a polynomial? Now, when I told him to use Taylor's theorem, now that's the formula for Taylor's theorem, and then that is the thing right there. That is the polynomial expansion for Taylor's theorem right there, and it did it up to the first one, 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. Now, but it is taking this last one to, it is taking 2 terms for that one. So I mean, the context you supply will really determine how well it will respond to your request. So now I want to go ahead and say, write a Python code for this and plot it. Let's see what is going to happen. Here's the Python code that approximates ln x using first 2 terms. So I mean, it just goes ahead, write the whole code. So it is just using the first 2 terms. So now that it has written the code, all you can just do is just come here, copy the code. Now I'm going to open Jupyter Notebook on my computer. Jupyter Notebook. So I'll have to share that again. So Jupyter Notebook is open. Then I'm just going to open a new Python note. Okay, let me stop sharing this so I can share my Python page so you see exactly how it's implemented. To be sure, it can have errors sometimes, so you need to, so you can't just go, you need to know the background of what you're doing in the first place, so that when it's giving you something wrong, you can actually spot it and not be taken in by it. So I mean, this is the Jupyter Notebook page. So I just I've copied that and I just paste it. Then I just run it, and then voila. Can you see that? So it's showing ln x, the actual ln x is in blue, and the approximation using the first 2 terms is right there. So now I'm going to tell it I'm going to tell it to extend the code to the first 100 terms so you can get a better approximation. Could you now, you're not seeing this ChatGPT. Could you improve the code? Could you improve the code to the first 100 terms? Would that be too much? Let me say the first 20 terms. First 20 terms. First 20 terms. First 20 terms. So it's, that's giving it some time to think, and it's pausing a lot. Sure, here is an updated Python code. So it will update the previous code. Though you're not seeing this, but I'm going to show you after now. Using the first 20 terms of the Taylor series expansion under around a equals 1. So the expansion is around a equals 1. So I'm also going to plot it. So you can see it is just like what you saw previously. It is calling numpy, which is for dealing with I think dealing with arrays, and the matplotlib for plotting. So, and it's going on with that to take the first 20 terms so that the thing can be. What are you currently seeing on the screen? Are you seeing the Python Jupyter Notebook where a graph was generated? Hello, can I get a feedback from someone at least?
Sorry, they are all muted. So let's allow participants to.
Okay, just tell me
to speak. So they were muted all this while. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So now
if you have yes, I need feedback, interaction. Like you have a question about the things I've been doing, you want clarification on something.
So now you can speak anytime. You can mute yourself.
Okay. What is currently on the screen, like that people are seeing? Is it the Jupyter Notebook or ChatGPT?
Jupyter Notebook.
Jupyter
Okay,
Notebook.
great. So now this is the first plot was for the first 2 terms, and you can see this approximation. Of course, the more the terms, the more accurate the approximation is. So now I've done it up to 20 terms. So let's see what that gives. Now you see this is getting more and more aligned with the original in X, right? Because we have more terms to deal with. So, I mean, that's something. Now, of course, okay, I think I want to stop sharing the Jupyter Notebook now and go back to ChatGPT. So now this is not only limited to only Python. I only demonstrated using Python because that is what I've been using lately. So, so I go back to ChatGPT. Let me share it again. So let me try MATLAB. I know some people use MATLAB, so I've not used MATLAB for some time now. Okay, this. So I think ChatGPT should be back up now. Can you do the same? Can you do the same? Can you write the code in MATLAB? Can you? Okay, instead of saying can, write the code in MATLAB. Easy. Write the code in MATLAB. Sure, here's a MATLAB code approximately next using the first 20. So define that MATLAB has its own way. So that's MATLAB. So if you use MATLAB, you can just copy this and run it. I don't have a MATLAB interface on my computer, so I won't be able to implement that. So, I mean, the code for MATLAB, it looks even smaller. I mean, it's more compact. But the reason why I prefer Python is that I don't have to pay anybody. I don't have to buy it. MATLAB is way expensive if you want to use it. So that's why. So my policy these days is the fact is that most of the times for every tool that you have to pay for, there is one tool that is free. Of course, if you want to get the best of everything, you have to ultimately pay for the ones that are proprietary though. But for most of the key things you have to do, you can always find a free tool for that expensive one that you want to buy. But of course, if you want to now use at the premium level, then you may have to pay. So I think with this, I've talked about languages, I've talked about mathematics, and then I've brought that into scientific computing. And even okay, let's do maybe one thing on data science. Let's do something on data science, and then we'll go. Let's see. Can you demonstrate? Okay, demonstrate data analysis. Is it demonstrate now? Let me say, because the prompt is very important. A code for, or better still, code. Oh, okay, yeah, a code, right? A code for data analysis using NumPy, Math is, these are packages, Math, Panda, because pandas, is it Panda or Pandas now? Matplot. Okay, Matplotlib is for plotting in Python, but I particularly like Seaborn. Seaborn is also another one that's so cool. And Seaborn. So I mean, this is something just general now. So here's an example code for data using all of those things. So this code generates some sample data. So it will generate its own sample data, random data now, and then do some gymnastics, and it's writing all that code. So all I just need to do is copy and paste. Then if I need to improve it, then I can just do whatever improvement I need to do. So this is something on data analysis. So and it will also go ahead and explain the code. Or if you have a code in any language, you can actually bring it here and say, oh, where's the error in this code? And it can help you fix it, right? So that's also something. Then I think this even does a scatter plot using Seaborn. So you see, it's calling all the things I said it told it to use: import NumPy as NP, import Math, import Pandas as PD, import Seaborn as SNS. So what Matplotlib would have done, that's what Seaborn is going to do here now. So again, I'm going to stop sharing and go to Jupyter Notebook. Let's see how that works. This Jupyter Notebook, where are you? Did I close it the other time? Let's see. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to continue with this same one. So let me share that now. This Jupyter Notebook. So then I just go here, paste and run. Paste and run. So it's, yeah, I mean, voila, it's done it. See that? So it just generated, so it called all the packages I told it to use, then did some random seed, blah, blah. Then it just came up with its own data, and then it's using 2x plus some random values, and then it's finding mean and all of that. And so told us the mean of the data 9.79, standard deviation 1.81, mean of y 19.61, standard deviation of y is 3.61, correlation between x and y 0.97. And now from the scatter plot, you can see the strong correlation. So, I mean, that's that. So I think I want to stop at this point so we can take the other part. I mean, what we have just done basically is to give you a tip of the possibilities. Interestingly, even I think Amazon gave a report that they've had a lot of many books. Immediately ChatGPT came, there was a surge of published books that had a mention of ChatGPT or that had ChatGPT as a co-author. In fact, I think I saw one paper, one scientific paper published in a journal with ChatGPT as one of the co-authors or something like that. So there's a lot you can do with this thing. So at this point, I'd like to hand over. Thank you very much for listening. I believe you are going to explore more and use it to your advantage within ethical limits. Don't go overboard and put yourself in trouble. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Manuel. So I think we have a question on the chat box. Somebody asked a question, and I don't know if you might want to answer now.
Thank you for the wonderful eye opener. I tried asking AI ChatGPT to help me with Maple code for Lorentz control system, but it couldn't. Please, how will I go about it? Okay, Lorentz control system. And Maple. Let me try from my end. If I get something, if it is a ChatGPT problem, then we can find that out. Let me try from this end and see how that goes. Maple code for Lorentz. Yeah, that's for weather forecasting or something. For Lorentz control system. Lorentz control system. Now it's giving me the code, man. Yeah, yeah, that's Phoebe, right? It's giving me the code right here. I don't have a Maple environment, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the code and paste it in the chat box so you can see what exactly it's doing. I mean, no hesitations. It's doing a great job here. Wow. Here's the Maple code for simulating the Lorentz control system. Probably you may have to check your device. Maybe something is wrong or the internet is slow or something. I'm not sure. So, I mean, the only thing I just did was Maple code for Lorentz control system. So let me write the prompt I gave it, then I'll copy the code too. Yeah. So where's the chat box now? Okay, well, let me just copy this code and then, okay, yeah, this is the chat box. Yeah, so for Phoebe, see what it gave. I've not really used Maple before. So, okay, I tried sharing something. Did you see it? Now this should be going to everyone. Okay. Yes, that's the Maple code it gave me for Lorentz control system. So you can implement it in your Maple interface. Yes, Rebecca, it's very important within ethical limits so that you can easily run foul of using ChatGPT. Just know, I mean, let it not take over your work as a researcher. It should only guide it. Particularly good for brainstorming, especially if you're just breaking a new ground. Is there any other question or we are good to go?
Yeah, I think we have Deji Ajayi.
Oh, okay, yeah. My Oga.
Hey, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir.
How's the family, sir?
Very well, thank God.
It's been some time.
Very,
Okay.
yeah.
I would like to ask if this chat GPT can be can interpret a plot like a graph. For example, if I have if I plotted the graph of I'm into material, I do research on semiconductor materials. So
Okay.
with application in solar cells. So
All
if
right.
I want to, if I plot the graph of absorbance against a wavelength,
Yes.
can ChatGPT interpret that graph?
Okay.
That is the first
Well,
question.
okay.
Can I ask a
Okay, please go
ChatGPT to
ahead.
interpret that graph? And the second question is that we have scanning electron micrographs. That is images from scanning electron microscope. These
Okay.
images, can ChatGPT also interpret these images?
Okay. Well, I don't know what what it can do or what it cannot do until I try, right? But one thing I know is the right most of the time. For instance, imagine when I told you to write ln x as a polynomial, it told me it's not possible, right? But because as a mathematician, I know that there is Taylor's theorem that enables transcendental functions to become polynomial functions. I was able to now tell it, okay, guy, use use Taylor's theorem, and it was able to do that. So maybe if you now one thing I also know is that the version 3.5, I think it doesn't work well with images, because I remember trying to say, okay, let me even try now, because one thing I discovered is the first time I do something, the thing, it may not give me the correct answer, but when I go back later to try it, I discovered maybe that there's an improvement. All this interaction we're having with it, it's actually helping the team to also improve on the work on the thing itself, right? So now I'm sharing my chat GPT something again. So now let me just tell you to do something simple: plot sine x. So let's see if it can still work with plots. Maybe it can now work with plots. Plot sine x. So that's a simple thing, and it's thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it. Mm. I mean, one thing you'd have seen is this, that whatever you're telling it to do, make sure you have a background in that, because it can easily mislead you if all you are doing. Oh no, you can see it is giving me a Python plot. So that is not what I need. Now, one thing I discovered is there is this other. If you Google Chat GPT, okay, maybe I need to share. I need to open a new window and share that. Now it's giving me a Python code, because I've been talking about Python. It can always refer to what we were doing before. So, but that's not the idea here. So let me open this. Let me open a new page where I look for Chat GPT. Let me just do Chat GPT fresh. In fact, I want to close the previous one. Now, so now I want to stop sharing this, because I want to show you what is happening right now. So this is a new, now can you see, I said for Chat GPT, right? And it's showing me OpenAI, which is the one I was using. Now this is another one, which is like advanced, this is advanced. But if you look at this, the interface is more beautiful. Maybe this is version 4.0 or something like that. So now I'm going to try ChatGPT, and then it's okay, bringing some adverts. So now the interface now this one is telling me I only have 10 tries. So the other one is unlimited. But I guess this one does things faster. It works faster with information. So can I just tell it to plot sine x? Let's see what happens. Plot sine x. You see, this one is different from the other one. So plot sine x looks like a bit more advanced. So what is it doing? Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, as an AI language model, I cannot provide a plotted graph. However, I can explain to you what a typical graph of the sine function looks like. Then it goes ahead to explain all the sine. But I'm very sure that maybe what you want to do, ChatGPT may not be able to do it, but I'm very sure there are tons of AI tools that can do what you're saying. All you just need is maybe you can make some search and refine, make sure you keep refining your prompt until you get what you really want. So this one is saying it cannot plot. But I know there are some AI tools that that can work with images, and they can tell you what you want. So as far as you know what you are looking for, just keep refining your prompt until you get it. If it doesn't work with ChatGPT, it can work with, there are many, many, many AI tools that will help you profile literature, give you literature connected to what you're looking for and everything. So, I mean, from our practical experience with this right now, it looks like that is impossible with all the versions of ChatGPT we have. But I know there's a tool out there that can do it just like this. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Emmanuel. Ojo Febe, do you have another question? I can see your hand is raised up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you for the other time. Yes, I've been trying to do that, just that. I tried that that code that the GPT gave me, and it ran. Yes, I was able to run it, but it was giving me the chaotic phenomena of the Lorentz system. It wasn't giving me the time response, like the time response curve of the controlled Lorentz system. I tried every means to get at it, but it wasn't giving me. Please, how will I go about it? Thank you, sir.
Dr. Emmanuel, you're muted.
So sorry, I'm sorry for that. So Phoebe, what I was saying was you keep asking it questions until you get what you want, and it doesn't. There's no guarantee that you get. Now there are sometimes you get like maybe I need Python code on something that is really confusing me, and it gives me something. I run it, it gives errors. Then I take it back to it and I ask it, where is the error from? And it tells me, oh, the error is here. I go back and I implement it and I get it right. Sometimes you tell me, okay, why not try this? And I never get it. So, and that is why you cannot rely totally on ChatGPT. So if you are asking it Python questions, make sure you are a Python person, like you know Python, or you can always do your own thing as much as possible. So it is just there as a support, not like it's taking over the whole thing. So it means you may need to increase your own knowledge of Maple and know how to go about those things. But at least the guy don't try and it has given you something. So go ahead and add your own to it.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, all right.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have any question again for Dr. Emmanuel? If not,
yes, somebody said, Dr. Dijajayi, somebody is giving you an idea here that he thinks that if you need just explanation for the plot, you can copy the data on ChatGPT and clearly state the headings of the columns and tell it to explain. You know, the explanation from data can actually give you some insight into the plot it is going to generate at last. I think that's a very helpful advice. Yeah. So I think at this point it's good. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Emmanuel. That was an insightful section. Surely the language aspects, the pidgin language.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Augustine to anchor the next section. Augustine, can you please take over?
Thank you very much, David, and thanks, Dr. Emmanuel. This session, the first session, we introduced the participants to ChatGPT, and you got your hand dirty by trying to do something, and we went into breakout rooms so that we can practice. And inside in those breakout rooms, we have instructors that were of assistance. And the second session, anchored by Emmanuel, you were able to see the demonstrations in field of mathematics and also in general engagement and languages. Now, this session, we're going to academic branding. Like now you have engaged on your research, you have done what you need to do. How do you correct? How do you check for grammatical errors? How do you arrange your references in such a way that you put comma and all these things in the basic referencing style? And also we have to take a look at your CV. Your CV is very important. And also your applications, like some people here are applying for scholarship abroad, some are applying for what we call it, postdoctoral, doctoral, and grant and other things. So what we want to do now is to experiment with basic prompts. I will enjoy you because you have the Google Classroom. That's for continuous development. And when you ask questions, the instructors will continue to respond to you. But for now, you can take note of some of the steps. And if you have your applications or your ChatGPT opened on your computer where you are, I will enjoin you to also do the same thing and carry along. So the first one we're going to do is to look at an essay you have written in the past or in the present. And you know that your grammatical errors are not okay, but they can be okay. Even those of us, even in the UK, we know that there's no perfect thing or an output. So what I want to do now is I will take a chapter, let's say this chapter now, this like a chapter from my thesis. So this is chapter 1, right? And you can see in this chapter, you can see the supervisor writing comments beside. Yeah, what is nice? Yeah, can you say a little bit more about what they are concerned here? So as we have said in the old training, it's not that it's going to write it for you. So all these ones is not that ChatGPT wrote it for me. You have to write. So you write your work, and then you have all these comments from your supervisor, like, oh, what is good outlining and all these other stuffs. And basically, you have done your best. Yeah. So you have done your best, but you have to, it has to be your maximum best, because it's more or less like, so it could be a master, it could be a first degree thesis, it could be a PhD work. And then you will see, this is a kind of a draft you are giving your supervisor. It doesn't have to be perfect. So the supervisor is writing, don't risk hyperbole. This isn't about Socratic events. You're saying something, but you could make a case, well-being, and all this other thing. Now let's look at some of these things that the supervisor have said. So let's say, for instance, I'm writing here about the history of text-based digital humanities. So what you would do is you go to your work. So you will copy. I will advise, except you are using a higher version of ChatGPT, like 4.0. But if you're using that basic one, I would say you should do it paragraph by what? Paragraph. So you copy that. So let's say we copy this, right? So we copy this. You go to your ChatGPT. So I enjoin you, you should be doing that on your own side too. Like you should try to look for maybe your current essay or something that you are working on, right? So you copy that. So you go to the ChatGPT, right? And then you now pass this instruction. You won't just copy and paste. So you write 3 most important things. So you will say, check for grammatical error, punctuation mistakes, and paraphrase where necessary in this essay. So now you will now put, when you put this, let me say, for instance, let me copy this and drop this in the chat so that you can also practice it, right? So you copy this, paste this in the chat. Now, you may want to experiment with a paragraph, you may want to experiment with as many, but let's just like put now, so, okay, it's copying what I did last. So let me put the essay one side and the ChatGPT one side, okay? So we come back to the essay. So we copy that again. Then you now put in front of that column. Then you will send it in. You send it in for ChatGPT to process. So now you see what I wrote here. I say most of our daily communication are done through medium of computer and electronic devices, yeah, and we have multiple ongoing, blah, blah, blah. It refined it and said the majority of our communication takes place. So you see that it's not like they are done through computer and electronic. We continually produce text using mobile phone, various applications such as WhatsApp, Instagram, and this. So it fine-tuned, even when we are assigned. So when I say, even when we ignore this communication app and turn to book, it's put it in a way when we set aside communication apps, turn to book, and then it put in brackets, those printed, our interpretation are this. then you can continue. And at the end of the day, you can see, for instance, now, you will see sometimes here, you know, I'm a Nigerian, right? And, you know, the way we talk and the way we write English is different from the way Onyibo people write English and they talk. You understand? So like, for instance, now I said, thus, the intellectual sanity can be maintained by collapsing, you know, the demarcation between the structured and unstructured. And we like big grammars. And sometimes when they write, they love to write in such a way that as if they are talking. So we come up with big grammars. So what I will say to this, let's say, for instance, this part, what you will say now is, you will say, for instance, write in simple language, you know, so you can say rephrase and write in simple language. So you put this, especially that's one where I was talking about intellectual insanity. What did my Oga said about the intellectual sanity? You know, don't risk hyperbole. That is about psychic events. But you could, so you see that, you know, sometimes you write some things, I will fire this, you know, I'm going to begin by expatiating and exportating, you know. So that is our own thing, but those things look aggressive. They look aggressive, and, you know, sometimes they are not the best research practices, you know. So, well, you know, we learned English, you know, and then we are not English now. So now what you would do to such things, or when you have work like that, I will drop it in the chat again. So you have this, I will drop this. So you take note of all these prompts. Some of these prompts, I will tell you the secrets to the prompts. I'll just take you a little bit to the secrets to some of the prompts we are talking about, so that you'll be able to know how some of, and you will have a lot of those prompts in the Google Classroom, because, you know, we can't do that in one session. So I will show you a little bit the secrets to some of this prompt, and so that you won't just like, we won't be like we are giving fish, or we also teach how to, what we call it, how to, is it how they used to say that now? That you don't give people fish, but you also show people
how to fish.
How to fish, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what is this? Is like, if it's possible, like you see this is the AI chat group, and it's actually filled with a lot of, so what you can do is, at the end of this workshop, send your email. This is filled with developers, company owners, and a lot of people that are building, developing, and expanding. And though I will tell you to a great extent, is mostly those who want to make money. So most of these are CEOs and all these things, but the developers are there. So one of the major things is, and there are other AIs, as Dr. Emmanuel also talked about it. We have the Mid-Journey, we have the one for cartoon animation, but the African Researchers Network will be taking it gradually. What we are trying to solicit for is how they will try to accept our members into some of this, such that they can be able to also engage in the development, as well as having an understanding to the back-end development of this software. Because, you know, as we have a lot of computer scientists here, and you know that these things were coded. And it's the way they are coded. If the developers are able to give you the tips of the instruction they pass in that you'll be receiving, then you'll be able to know the tips to what you will be engaging with that will give you the actual results. And what some people encounter most has more to do with, they don't ask the proper question, or their prompting is not in accordance to how it is developed. So I hope that is going to be helpful. Drop your email. I know that the team is assembling them, and then be in the classroom, invite other people to the classroom, because what we have is just tip of the iceberg. The development is going on, and we will continue to update you, you know, so that Africa will not be left behind. So let's go back to where we are with regards to, so let me do this. I don't know if you're able to share, see. So I share the entire screen so that you will be able to now see. So we put the AI by the side, which is, you use Control Arrow, and then you put your essay that you are working on. So by the side, so let's do this. So this is the essay by the side. So you can use window Control Arrow, yeah? And then you get that. So now you see the last prompt that I gave. The last prompt that I gave has to do with rephrase and write in simple language. You understand? And then let's see what's going to happen to the whole thing. So it's still not, so instead of thoughts, we are so used to thoughts, So to keep our thinking clear and logical, that's what I say, not intellectual, thus intellectual sanity can only be maintained. Who says that? So except someone like myself who is, but now it has already said, thus to keep our thinking clear and logical, we need to remove the boundaries between organized and disorganized text sources and use media to help and shape, and then you see the way it presents it in such a way that it's an English person and an expert editor, and then you see, it's interesting to note, you can see my Oga is an English person, So you say, what did they write? Need to say, what does this add? That's the question there. What are you trying to persuade us? And then imagine this is your application. Imagine this is your PhD proposal application to an institution. You will not ask, why were you not taking? When you gave them a lot of bamboozling things. But what is happening is, with the way we write, the way we write is different from the way they expect us to write and how they will understand what you are saying. And that accounts a lot for a lot of applications being dropped down, postdoctoral and all this other stuff. So that's another prompt that is important. I'm using this template. This previous work, this is an old work. This was written 3 years ago anyway. So, and I'm using it as a template to help us to, like, no matter the correction or errors that may be embedded in a work, So let's look at referencing. You understand this sort of thing. Let's look at referencing. Let's look at, we have looked at grammatical correction. We have looked at, what do we call it? So let's look at references. So let's take, if we look at this essay now and we take from, you see there are no references in this side, from 31, right? 31, 29, 30, 31, and 32, right? So we take this now, so we take it from that. So basically you have read it or you have arranged your work, but you can't remember where did I copy this from? Which book did I read that I copied it from? And deadline is around. So let's take from, what do we call it? By propagation, I refer to, so let's take from this now. From here, and you have to know it's the first draft, right? You are writing a draft, and let's stop at some of the references that I couldn't find to it in that, stop in 31, 32, and all those things. So let's stop here. So you copy this, right? Now you ask yourself the question, what is the problem that I'm encountering now that I want to solve in this particular work? So what is the problem that we want to solve here? Missing references. So you tell it, please fill in missing references in this draft. You have to know this is a draft now, so that you'll be able to, so it has those categorizations. So you drop it in, and you see that one of the major things that happen here is, because I use footnotes, right? And those numbers accompany them. So this wasn't copied when I copied that, but let's see what it's going to do to stay fixing. So it's going to take it one after the other. Do you understand this kind of thing? So he's now fixing it now. Because this work is going to be subjected to plagiarism software at the end of the day. And when it's subjected to plagiarism software will write error in those places that these references were, because some of the ideas in those places were copied from there. Now, if you have used it already to fix in the references, right? What is going to happen? Plagiarism software is going to score you right. And you see what it's doing for each of them. Like you see the area where I say, among the great minds include these people. I didn't write their work and their year. You don't just list people's name like article or litany. You understand this sort of thing? So he's now fixing, okay, based on the idea of what this guy is writing, he's referring to James Smith, 2017, James Esbon, 2015. This. So at the end of the day, more than how many books? About 30 books or more were fixed in within those areas. There is no way plagiarism software is going to talk about anything is mixing there. At the end of the day, just pass the plagiarism software tools. And then it won't be as if you copied. But another thing I can also now do in the prompt is now paraphrase. And you know that paraphrasing, when you paraphrase something, if so far as you have referenced it and you paraphrase it, you have not stolen any idea because you have referred to the person and you didn't copy the person verbatim. So what we can say now is paraphrase and present in a prosaic way. Prosaic is make it flow like a prose. Let it be sweet. So let it not just be like, I join ideas here and there together and whatever. So paraphrase and present in a prosaic way. The draft above, I don't want to copy and paste again. Since it can remember, it should be able to, so it will remember what we decide. I said the draft above, just the one that I did last. If you know that you are using a version that will not obey this instruction or it doesn't work for you, I will advise you, you can just put full column here. You can just say paraphrase and, paraphrase and present, or what we can say rewrite. Can say rewrite in a prosaic way, the draft above. But you will say, if you know that it won't understand, you say paraphrase and rewrite this draft. And then you put full column and you copy what is above, you copy it and paste it there. So what we're going to do now is this. I'm going to take question. I could see hand up. So I'm going to take question. So let's just do the draft above. And this time around, I expect it to now, make it blend. Join all of them together. You're saying something. Because, I've had the draft. I want to talk about this one, to say this one. And you know that this is chapter 1 of a thesis, right? And for those who are researchers, you know that chapter 1 of the thesis, the major thing you do first is literature review. Those who have done things you have done. You want to acknowledge the facts that you have read them and you know what they have done, right? And then, you have a lot of books you have to review and all these other stuff and all this. So this is where the main work is for your thesis. The same thing when you are writing research proposal. For masters, for PhD, they want to know, because you want to contribute to knowledge. Who have you read? You cannot reinvent the wheel. And now you see, from a draft that does not have reference to providing references, from providing references to checking grammatic error, from checking grammatic error to now blend it. And now you can see what it's saying now, tracing the origin of computer-assisted textual scholarship in the humanities, bring us to the stories of Susan Hockey, Stephen E. Jones, Oliver Leibdov, who recounts the early days of such practice, starting with Father Roberto Buza. So it put that one aside, it now entered. This terminology has grown to encompass. So these are my ideas, but we have the ideas, but packaging of the ideas, and thanks to GTP. So I will take questions now before we move to the next branding of your academic career, whatever stage you are. So I saw some hands up before, but before we move on, so that we won't be jumping the scale. Please put up if you have question before we now move to the next.
So I think we have our first question in the chat box.
Okay. Does the person want to speak to it? Because can the person just unmute and speak to it?
Okay, so if Bethel Bankole, she asked the question saying, is this software open source?
Yes, the software is open source. There are different senses of open source. So technically, open source means you have access to the codes that the developers use to develop it. So if you say it's open source in that sense, no. But if you said open access, yes, everyone has access to it, right? But there are paid subscription, what you call the ChatGPT Plus. You pay for that. And the paid subscription gives you that ability, right, to follow the upgrades. So if, for instance, now we look at the one I'm using here. So if you look at the one I'm using, let's put on full screen. So you come here, and so anytime, like for instance, you have logged into Charge. So I'll drop this in the chat. So all of us in any part of the world can log into this, right? So you log into this. Once you log into this link I've dropped in the chat, that means you already have access to what? To ChatGPT. So you understand something? So you have access to it. In that sense, it's an open access. Open source means you have access to a backend, you can alter the code, and you can. The other aspect for programmers or developers is that you can incorporate it. Programmers or computer scientists, you understand this sense, that you can incorporate into your app through the what? Through the application programming interface, which we call the API. So you have access, they allow you to have access to API. So let's say, for instance, now I'm developing an app, and the name of the app is Say It Right. Do you understand this sort of thing? And I want to integrate it into it so that ChatGPT, when you are writing something, ChatGPT will be correcting it for you automatically. It will be, so I can have access through a programming interface to do that. But you have to pay for such API access based on minutes, because it's like now you have created your own application from the back end code as well as the data source of what we call it, of API. And that's the sense that I think I can answer the question. So does that meet your requirements? Does that answer your question? The person who has a question, does that meet your needs?
It does, it does. Thank you.
Okay. And another thing I will enjoy is if you have money. You see, this thing can behave. This thing is also about money. So if you have small money for monthly subscription, so if you click on my account now, you will realize that, like, this account, for instance, is what we call it, is a paid account. You know, so, and it's $20, right? $20, what we call it, $20 per month, right? So you can, when you have access to this one, it enabled you to follow the growth in the field, or to follow, you know, the latest addition. So, as you know, as Dr. Dansu said, he said most of our engagement with them is making them smarter, and they are working on it day in, day out. So you will see, for instance, if you click on new chart, you will see by default, the one all of us have access to is what we call the ChatGPT 3.5. Now, there's legacy GTP 3.5. What's the difference? We talk about reasoning. I thinks the speed and its conciseness, how concise it is. But if you're on the plus, like the ChatGPT Plus, then you'll be able to have access to what? Like the one that was released, what we call it, last week, which is what we call it, GPT 4. So you can see that if I drag this a little bit, so you see ChatGPT 4, and this guy thinks very fast. It's the most enhanced model available to Plus subscriber. So if you have this $20 token, it's worth it, you know, and then you'll be able to pay for that and enjoy the best of the input. Based on what we have taught so far, because we are researchers. So there's difference between when we are dealing with marketing, when we are dealing with bloggers, when we are dealing whatever. As researchers, we are meeting your needs. The basic thing we have taught so far has to do with the prompts you will give to correct those errors and how you will rework your essays, as well as any draft you have. Most importantly, how to correct your references and to check appropriately your references in order to defeat plagiarism software, because that's the major thing that makes a lot of work to be rejected from being published in international journal. So if there's no question on that, I'm going to go to the next phase of the life of an academic researcher. So, but if there's question, please unmute yourself and go ahead and take the question. The question based on what we have just discussed. That's the question we entertain. Please, who has hand up?
Hello, sir.
Okay,
hello.
Please go ahead, please.
Hello, sir.
I can hear you.
Does this software handle the issue of plagiarism?
Yes, it does. It does.
It does.
Yes, because
when you are referring to the plagiarism software, are you referring to the ChatGPT?
No, the plagiarism software is where they put your essay or your write-up to check for places where you have copied directly without paraphrasing. or where you copied without what? Referencing. So that's
Okay,
what
is
that
it a
software.
feature?
But what this one does for you is that your work that has been scored by plagiarism software as 5%. Pour it inside.
Okay.
What was the mistake that the plagiarism software is condemning? Number one thing plagiarism software is comparing is that you did not paraphrase. You copy directly.
So sorry to cut you short. I get you. I know what plagiarism is. What I'm trying to say is the feature embedded in the software, or are they two separate software?
Now, what you will do to now resolve that, since you now get that, is that you will use this software to check to paraphrase. So you will ask this software to paraphrase. So let's look at if there is an essay that is highly plagiarized. Like, so let's say, for instance, you have an essay that is that contain a lot of copy and paste. So let me look for an undergraduate essay. I think I've opened it on Grant too. So an essay that I wrote as an undergraduate. You know, undergraduate, what we do is tailor. We join and match. Join and match. You understand this sort of thing? So you just cut and paste. And then now when you take such kind of essay, you pour it into ChatGPT and you instruct it that it should paraphrase and insert references where necessary. What will it do for you? Based on what we have done, it paraphrased and inserted the references, right? And after inserting the references, then if you now pour it back into what? Into the plagiarism software, you will not see those errors again. And that point, you have end up resolving the plagiarism issue in your essay. Does that answer the question, please?
Yes, sir.
You're welcome.
Hello,
thank you.
Dr. Augustine.
Yes.
Hello. I have a little bit of concern.
Okay.
But I don't know if it is unfounded though.
Please.
You know, there are software now that also detect if something is coming from ChatGPT.
Yes, yes.
So now, for what I've just described is very fantastic. That, you know, all our undergraduate days in Nigeria of copying and pasting, thinking that was the way to go.
Yeah.
And then now we have ChatGPT. So somebody can copy, paste, put it in ChatGPT, and it is refined, and it's no longer like like plagiarized.
Yeah.
But then what if you are submitting it to someone like me who can go to the extent of looking for a software, looking to check if what you have brought to me is from ChatGPT or not? I have a little bit of
yes,
concern in that regard.
This conversation has been on, especially for what we call it, developers and most of the people that also developed it, and even a legal case was also raised up. The whole conversation about is ChatGPT a co-author? Should ChatGPT reference? Is there issue of what we call it of plagiarism? And I would say like one of the they posted something because so let me just go straight to, he posted something to us about the resolution to some cases and issues that has to do with that, though context differs. But I know this conversation is more in the, let's say in the US and all these things. And which day was that? So this was March 16, so which was 2 days ago. It was resolved that AI generated image and text, as well as text. They have clarified issue of text from text and all this thing. There's no copyright issue any longer. And that goes back to what we said at the onset, that it's not the AI that is doing it. It is based on the prompts. And that's why, for instance, you see the resolution that come to this, not lecturer, not anybody should mark anybody, no, or can tell, you're saying, I can see ChatGPT, or I can see, this guy just released, Microsoft just released another one, which is doing the same thing. No, Google released another one yesterday, which is doing the same thing that ChatGPT is doing. Like, I was just, that just dropped in the whatever. And they call that, what do they call that again? Let me check. Where is the mouse for the other system? So the whole resolution is based on human input. And that's why when Dr. Dansu was giving his presentation to you, he made mention of the fact that you have to have something. Even the developer said you have to have something that you are working on. Not that, let's say for instance now, let me say I'm going for an interview. So let's let that lead us to the next stage. So I'm going for, let's use a simple one that we apply to many people here. So I'm going for, I am going for an interview for a postdoctoral, or I'm going for a PhD candidate interview. What are the questions that I should expect and prepare for? Now, it congratulates you, it's like a human being. Yeah. So it congratulates you. Oh, you got an interview. Now you say, what do you want to pursue in this field? What are your research? And it's different from when you check Google and see an article that is posting something like this. This guy is fetching from the back end of a lot of sources, and it's loaded with data. To a great extent, I've used it to prepare for an interview. And to a great extent, I gave specific the institution, the whatever I'm going to do and whatever, and it gave, and to a great extent, part of the questions that were asked were just, and to a great extent, it's familiar. So it knows what will be asked by Harvard. It's different from what will be asked by Oxford or what will be asked by, and it has access to their backends too. So these are some of the things. Now, last, remember the interviews and opportunity is going to include it. And then it's talk about, but where I'm going to with regards to where plagiarism is like, okay, I now want to say, I don't have words yet, but I'm just like, so these are questions that we ask me. What do you want to pursue a PhD in this field? Why do you want to pursue? So I now said, please give me a likely answer I could supply for each of these. A likely answer I could give for each of these questions. I know that the questions are many, but let's see if it will be able to handle each of them and take them one by one. Now it takes, why do I want to pursue a PhD in this field? I'm passionate about this field and believe that a PhD would provide me with opportunity to delve into the research area. Now, it has provided answers for this, but it's different when you now carry these, you paste it directly, or you open it on ground, say, I'll finish them today. And when they ask you a question, you go to the ones that fit it. You will be responding as a robot because it's going to be obvious. And that's how, even there's a young guy that came up and developed the ChatGPT for academic essay draft or whatever to counter if people use ChatGPT for their essays. And he developed it based on a model that is able to structure the way ChatGPT answer question. Because when ChatGPT answer question, it will now say, as a matter of fact, it will write a conclusion. It will write an introduction, right? So it will say, to respond to this, your question concerning this, I will now do this. And at the end, when they provide everything finished, it will write a conclusion. It has a structure. But what we are talking about is your originality will come into play. You don't take it all, and that's where they said, if people take it verbatimly, right, it's still not a crime. But it's not ideal because there are some people, they don't want you, academics don't want you to take it verbatimly. They want you to use it for brainstorming, to use it as a starter, but it should reflect you. And we have a lot of seasoned researchers in this, what we call it, in this chat, in this workshop currently. And these seasoned researchers, you have been writing before, you have a style. So when you write and it's out of your style, it will be so obvious. And it will show the style of ChatGPT because now it's robot that is responding. I know it's going to just answer 10 because it's not going to answer all of them. But I can push it further for those who are still watching this. So I can push this further and just say continue. And then it will continue from where it stopped. So what I'm saying is that you won't copy this verbatimly, but you will rephrase them. And most importantly, you can be caught as committing a kind of intellectual academic laziness, but it's not yet a crime. If, for instance, you have what we call it, you have a writing style. Let me give, for instance, now, I have a writing style such that when in any of my publication, you will see my style there because I will reflect. Let's say, for instance, let's take this essay, for instance, this publication, for instance, and So let me, it's University of Sussex. So Sussex. So it's not allowing me to read the publication unless you have academic access or you subscribe or pay for it. Yeah. So let's use this essay for instance. This, okay, I think it's opening that. So this essay is for the highest rank of digital humanities scholarship, and they know about any AI on computation and whatever. So I would say they subjected the essay to so many things, to so many softwares, plagiarism, and all these other stuff. But the most important thing is I used a lot of tools. I used Grammarly, but my ideas is embedded there. But most importantly, you can't question my style not being there. So you see, first of all, my style is you start with who I am as a philosophy student interested in computer science. I venture into this, right? And then within the work, I also talk about some things. Sometimes most of my work, I have to mention my name inside. Not that I mention my name by quoting whatever. If I'm using illustration, I use myself as an illustration, you know? So everyone knows. So if I just copy something straight away from ChatGPT and send it across for anything, people can detect, the university can detect that it does not fit into his writing style. And they will not say I've plagiarized anyway, but they may just say it's a lazy man approach to things. And that is where I think there's some kind of a caution that has to come to application of this in a high-level research. Any other question so that we move to CV, or we do a little bit based on request? What are your academic branding that you have in mind that you want us to experiment so that I can provide some prompts? All you need to do is raise up your hand and you'll be called. You know you don't want to speak to the branding you have in mind or the question you have in mind to brand yourself. We are talking about editing your work, avoiding plagiarism, publishing, ensuring you're able to publish, get the work published in international journal, and then towards the end, we look at your CV as well as maybe interview or something like that. We just take around. But I want to meet the needs of the participants. So I will enjoy it. You can put your hands up or you can unmute yourself and talk about something that you think that enhance your academic branding that you think we can experiment now, or I can give you some kind of prompt that will give you the right answer. We have 2 minutes for that. Anyone? If there is none, we move on with the syllabus we have for the day.
Can I beg your pardon to
yes,
respond to the question from Kunle? Of course, it may not be direct with ChatGPT, but I think you can actually give an idea.
Sorry, I didn't see it.
A direction. Yeah, it's in the chat. It's what's your take on research collaboration for newbies in research? I have ideas, but don't know how to make it work. And
Which
I want
one
to be
is that?
part of. It's in the chat. It's gone up now, like just before BARD, which Google released, I believe.
Okay. Kunle. You said the person is Kunle.
Yes.
I can't see it. If you can just copy it and paste again, maybe because I have a lot of. The last thing I can see in the chat was what I dropped, which is the link to ChatGPT.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that now.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I think I want to tell Kunle that you can actually, this thing you have asked us, you can put it in ChatGPT and you'll be shocked. Yeah, I mean, you will not get the answers you get will not be too different from what you're going to get from.
Exactly. Let's put it in the ChatGPT.
Exactly.
So let's do that straight away. That's what we are talking about. And exactly. And I will tell you that, like, I have various what we can say app that I use, or as a web developer that I used to go to customer service of hosting panel and meet the customer service people to ask questions. And sometimes they waste my time, but ChatGPT will answer perfectly more than them, and the problem will be resolved. So sometimes instead of asking us, you can just ask ChatGPT. But let's not ask. Let's see, if you ask one question, it's better at a time. And that's one of the way it's structured. Ask a question, it will take it. What's your take on research collaboration for newbies in research? Now it does not understand the context. It will not answer this one, because newbies in research, what research are you talking about? Which collaboration are you talking about? I have idea, but don't know how to make it work. I want to be part of publications. Other things is, so let's say we take the second one. So,
you know what? Can we just have it the way it is? Let's just see what happens before. Let's not let's
let
not
me stop it.
Yes. Let's just see what
it,
happens with
and I
that
just
request
paste
alone.
it the way it is. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, whatever happens, then we can now begin to modify and all that.
So let me go back to the chat.
Yeah, sorry for this.
No problem.
Yeah.
So Kunle. Where is Kunle again? Yep. Okay. So there's a suggestion that we should just take that. Though what I was is more or less like to understand the context, but the second part of the things clarifies it more, you know. So basically it's going to talk about research collaborations, right? And collaborating with experience or peer, and then it will now list to the second idea, which is going to, and that's why I said the second, I have an idea, but don't know what. So it will now talk about how you can be part of research collaboration. So you say, okay, learning from experienced researchers, expanding your network, sharing resource workload, enhancing creativity and problem solving. And that's currently what you're doing. Now it takes it to your newbie aspect. Narrow it down to make most research as a newbie, which you have provided the context. You identify the potential, you have to identify the potential collaborator, you communicate your ideas effectively, you establish clear expectations, and you develop a project plan. And you know that this is what people copy for their blogs. So you can use this, rephrase it, and put it on your LinkedIn, and people will be thanking you that, oh, so this, and then, yeah, and that is one of the major things that the ChatGPT has always been. Since the advent, apart from academic scholarship, you know, most of its produce are basically for the post. And most of the developments that they have been doing on it, I can tell you from an insider's point of view, that most of this development has always been on branding and post creating and all this. I've shared some PDF in the classroom, but I will share some things too. When this 4.0 was released, they have to come on the context of his application. And most of the context of the application that we're giving are just more or less on your Twitter. So you input, for instance, you copy the link of a particular page on a website, and then you say, from this text, write an extensive table of content for key learning for this article. Bam. And then, you know, we're talking about why 3.0 will not do that, but this is the result that it provided. It just went straight to that article on economics website and just outlined. Now you want to create your own article on that, right? So what you do now is this, yeah, you said this 4.0, 3.0 gave this, right? And I've done that when they break out from the difference. 4.0 will give you more, and it's very intelligent. Now, you can also ask for a trend, act like a type expert, Twitter copywriter, you know, so act like an expert. So there are some established experts, and that is, you know, who have been known for Twitter, and they are copywriters, that's their job. Now you want to replicate their brain, and you want a standard of their frameworks. You know exactly how to write Twitter trends. You're telling to him, write a 280 character tweet, tell a story, and share the actionative tips for you to follow. You know exactly, you would always like, you know exactly how to captivate your audience, eh? So do the same thing by sharing how to guide through. Now this time around, it's going to manipulate. This way deliberate thing they have incorporated into it. The manipulation, the emotional aspect of it, of getting people. You're saying something, and it's going to generate that. You know, say, okay, your first tweet, the hook, it will catch people's attention. So you also tell it, this is what you should do. This is how you should do it. Exclude hashtag go, and then it will generate that. Now, correct the mistake when it gives you. You say, correct the mistakes. Some of these prompts that they have provided to us are basically in marketing in industry, because these are people dropping the money for all these things. But we know how to now divert it to also academic thing. So you say, correct the mistake now. So you say, it's not long enough. You don't share actionable tips. Someone can follow. So you say, you don't share action. You have to provide the how to, because some of those prompts and all these things. And then You talk about the corrective mistakes and all these things. And then when it's giving you like, because this is not an elaborate workshop that will take a lot of times, because we just have less than 30 minutes to come to an end. So we can show some of the results, but you will see that it provides results, because you can always say something like when we say best of results, there's something we call regenerate. You understand this sort of thing? So sometimes if it gives you a result, you can say regenerate. Like for instance, now we talk about this academic collaboration. So regenerate is going to give you something better than what it gave you initially. So you say regenerate, and that's how, for instance, we will talk about the idea of the best results. We're talking about the best results from what? From regeneration. Now, you can go to the other aspect of talking about write complex sentences. You understand something? And then when you want to do that, you understand something, you can use an authority in the academia that you know that has a particular voice that you actually want to get an aspect of his voice. Like the examples that is here has to do more with Twitter, because you know, for marketing and other branding, what is being done is get people's attention, to write posts, to get people, and if you're a blogger, there is a separate training for bloggers, because the life of bloggers have not remained the same. Some people talk about millions of followers in a week. And then they also know from people's comments, if they take some people's comments and know what do they have interest in for the next one. I don't know how we can apply this to academics, but academics, you know, you have a classroom, you have publication, but if you're an academic blogger, then okay, that's your own calling. Then you can now begin to see how you tell all this. I'm going to make this resource available because we can't undo everything in this, what we call it, in this session. And that's why we have the Google Classroom. The Google Classroom has a timeline. We can share the links with your friend, but it has a timeline in which we're going to close it. So now let's go to CV, if there is no question again. Dr. Dansu, have I done what is required there? Are you okay with the response to Kunle and also where we are currently? Dr. Dansu. Okay.
Yes, sorry, I was muted. Yes.
And Kunle, you're okay, right?
Yeah, so what he did, right? I understand the capacity of ChatGPT, right? I've also in trying to getting curious about research, I'd made ChatGPT write out an outline for a certain topic for me, so I can now begin to develop. But I was thinking the question I asked was a direct one to you guys. Okay. Maybe that's because I didn't come on.
That was why I was saying.
Chat. I didn't come on the chat from.
I was saying it's not a ChatGPT question. You are looking at.
No, it's not. It's not a ChatGPT question. I'm just asking about
how you will work with us.
Let's say your network, right?
Exactly.
What do you guys do? How can you support someone who is new? Can you pair up someone with researchers to maybe understudy and then maybe pick knowledge or work with the existing research that you guys are already doing?
Currently, our network is multidisciplinary, right? And part of the research that we have been working on, like, you know, this is like our third year of existence and government approval in the UK, but we have members who are African researchers and non-Africans across the world. We have a WhatsApp. Currently, collaborations are done on individual basis, but we're going to automate it later on, where we have our researchers profile that you can click on and write straight to the person related to your field. And we can have a database of African researchers in such a way that you can be able to know, oh, I can work with this one from the database from our website. And that's where currently our website, we brought it down because we are upgrading, right? But we have a WhatsApp group, right? Which I can drop the link in the chat for the sake of the professionals that are here. And after the 30 minutes after this workshop, I will disable that link so that we won't be flooded with people that has nothing to do with what we are doing, so that people won't just come in and fill the chat room. In that, you have a lot of scholars from all parts of the world. So most time what people used to do is, I'm working on this. Do you have somebody that is specifying this? And then somebody will respond to the person. I'm working on this. Can somebody help me with the resources? So that's what we do there. And sometimes some people need, oh, this is your area. So when you log into that WhatsApp, you introduce yourself. So that's the first key. This is my research area. This is what I studied. So somebody will know you, and maybe they want to give a speech or they want other things. And that's where we are. We have a lot of intelligent researchers, Canada, US, and all this thing all there. And then we keep it quiet as possible because we only discuss what is necessary at each point. That's the first point of collaboration. The second point of collaboration is if you have something that you are working on, but you want to develop expertise in. It could be a software in your field. It could be you want to organize a webinar. We give a kind of open blanket, right, for presentation. So you have something you want to share about, we're going to do some work in the house, right, because we have order. And then we have the board of trustees, who we have Professor Remy Olatubosun and many others as board of trustees. So they are like the mentors in the academia and then we also have the directors who are experts who are in various research, So like Dr. Dansu is the director of research. We have Dr. Mukwile, director of finance and all this other thing. And then we also have those people we call associate directors. And this is still open to everybody based on the input and the contribution you want to make towards enhancing research in Africa, and in as much as making people who are in Africa have a taste of the resources, ideas, and contents that we have as people in the diaspora. And that is one of the ways to collaborate. Sorry, we used to do that towards the end, but I just quickly do that so that it can be of help to you. So we go to the next phase.
Yeah, thank you. That's good.
Thank you. I am happy that was helpful. So we'll go to the next phase of today because CV is the key and is the eye to the world. And I know a lot of people are aspiring to what we call it. They are aspiring to go abroad, to go and study abroad, to do postdoctoral, to do sabbatical, to do all sorts of things abroad. But this is a CV, right? So this was a CV that 3 years ago that I parried, and this is the best of CV that I consider as what we call it, as important to me, right? But this CV is good. It contains your education, your conferences attended, your employment, your non-academic employment, your award and grants you have gotten, your publications, maybe selected academic presentations at conferences, your membership of organization, and then an overview of relevant studies. So you have some research that you think they are very powerful, that you want to have an overview. But the question is this: CV is relative to places. And that is what happened. And this is where you need to have up to 10 versions of CV. Based on, if you're sending a CV to US, it's different. If you're sending to Canada, if you're sending to this, how do you use ChatGPT to do that, right? Even if it's a skill-based CV. So the first thing we want to do this is let's say, first of all, we ask ChatGPT, say, give me a template of an academic CV in the US. So let's say in the US first, because the Canadian people will talk about where is your portfolio? You're sending something, and they have a requirement of worship there. So now let's see what is. Oh, because I've always asked it to give me latex, so it's trying to give in latex because anytime I'm asking to do whatever, it gives in latex so that it can have a design. I got to stop this. So let me do that. Stop generating because you don't want it in latex, right? Some people want it in latex instead of you writing the latex code, especially those who have attended.
latex users.
It's exactly those who attended Dr. Dansu's the workshop we add on there. So give me a template of academic CV in writing, not latex code, because I've done for some people asking them for latex and then send to latex, and latex you just design it for them and then they have, because we always say you should write it with. So now it's giving a template now in words or in writing. So the first thing they have for their own CVs, they have their full name, their address, their zip code and whatever, the objectives. So what's your state, your outline of your academic professional goal? So you see that CV is good, but when I send it, if I send it to you as I'm looking for a job, they will not read it itself. It's the software that already followed this template that will reject it and will not give a feedback. You will just realize that I've been applying all my life to US and never get a reply. You understand something? And the thing is, in as much as that CV is very good, because they collect more than 5 million application for same thing, it will have flung your own into the bin, right from the structure and model. And and that is where this comes in. So you see the structural arrangement, so it has the topmost part, the objective, which it says optional anyway, but it search for it, the education, the academic appointments, the research interest, the publication, conference presentation, teaching experience, award and honor, grant and fellowship, professional affiliation, services, languages that you speak, references, the people, and they talk about what is required of those references. Now, if you take a look at this, it has done the first step. Now, the second step, you say, what's special about this? I can always, now the next step is, I would say, fit in, just my CV below to the templates provided above. And that is, you want to do for Canada. You want to do for, what do we call it, for UK. So do you know how many hours this will take you? So I'm going to copy now, that's my CV. I'm going to provide. So you see 2 ways I'm giving it. I'm just providing numerous data. I said, you have given me a template. Now it's now your job. Now start fitting it fit into that. Oh, we have overused this for today. They say you have reached the current usage cap for GTP4. You can continue with the default now or try again for 7.12. It has hours of numbers of questions that I can actually ask, right? I think you are following. Remember when we started, we talked about the versions and also the number of prompts. And this guy we have been using. So I'm going to swap to the default model now. And I hope the default model is going to understand what I asked last. But it won't understand. So I would say, using the template above, let's say using the template above, draft, we write my CV with this provided information. I hope this one will be intelligent enough to understand that I'm referring to the style it has provided above. Okay, so let's see. Message is submitted. This one is very weak. It's not very intelligent. And that's 3.5. And then what I provided is too much, for it, unlike the 4.0, right? So what we're going to do is this, that we go here. You're going to have this kind of case because sometimes some of us may be limited to the few resources. So we go here, we cut it into half. So we're going to cut it into half. So I go there, I click on re-edit of that same thing. I now divide it into 2. So I stop at, let's say, academic, wherever there, and then I save and resubmit. Now it started with that template now, with the US template. So it's going to like the education, this, the next one, and then it will take that, and like that. Academic employment, blah, 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 and then continue like that. So it stopped there. We are coming to the end of this workshop. And we know that we might not have exhausted all that we could have done, but this is now 3 hours, and we know that some people, so this is what we have done. We have had the first session, the second session, and the final session. So we use this to take what you expect for continuous development, what you expect from us, and any other question. And that's what we do for the next 5 minutes. And then the moderator for today will come and round it up. So questions and engagements based on what you have learned within the past 3 hours.
Hello, sir. I'd like to ask a question.
Go ahead, Esperance.
Thanks for the development. I learned a lot today. I'm going to ask a question. During the explanation of Dr. Dansu, he was mentioning GPT chat and GPT screen. What's the difference? And people, people follow him, and I don't know really the difference because so far,
and GPT what?
GPT screen and GPT chat, because I only know chat GPT. I only know chat GPT this today. I'm going to ask, is there another form of GPT?
Dr. Dansu will answer that. Dr. Dansu, there's a question for you. Dr. Dansu is in Japan. This is their midnight. So if thank God he's still awake. So
ChatGPT, I don't remember talking about GPT screen though. But the only thing I do remember is that I said for the person who wanted AI to help interpret his graphs, that though ChatGPT may not be able to do that, but there are tons of other AI tools that can actually help with that. So I mean, but I do not remember talking about ChatGPT.
Dr. Dansu, can I respond to that?
Okay, please feel free. Thank you.
It seems where she was pointing your attention to is where you are switching between the GPT chats and
I see that. Oh, sorry. Okay. When I was talking about using how you can use ChatGPT for programming, I program with Python, and so what I did was after ChatGPT had generated the codes to show that the code is actually valid. So I copied it from ChatGPT to Jupyter Notebook. That one is for programmers. Like if you're into programming, I use Python or R or some other programming tools like that. So Jupyter Notebook is actually a place where you can actually implement your code, and it's particularly good for okay, for instance, I can teach maths using Jupyter Notebook. So I use LaTeX to type my maths, the mathematics, and then right in the same note, I can run my Python code. So I can be teaching a class. After teaching them the maths, I go straight to implement the code right below the mathematical explanation. So you may not have to worry yourself about that if you're not into Python programming and mathematics.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah.
All right, my pleasure. Thank you very much, Dario Ladele, for clarifying that.
Good. And once you are in the Google Classroom, you can also chat and raise some things. And if you have your specific field, that there is a software that is missing or that you would like to advance on, because like in April, we are planning on MATLAB. So if you can also drop that, and then we can look at other AI. Some of our guys are also working on AI for images, like AI for picture and images and whatever. So they're working on a session for that. So those are some of the things we continue to update you. And for those who have joined the WhatsApp group, please introduce yourself. It's very important. The admin can eject you for not introducing yourself, so that everyone will have the name, the institution or whatever, and the field or research the person is doing when you are in that chat, so that we won't have any alien body or an unknown person within that group. So thank you very much. Any other question? We're coming to an end. Any other question, expectations, research input, contributions to the link to the Google Classroom again. So I will drop that. Who is talking? Please go ahead.
Hello, sir.
We can hear you, sir.
Okay. I'm Oladile. Thank you very much for this.
You're welcome.
Specifically, I've been hearing of ChatGPT before now, but I started exploring it on Thursday.
Good.
And since then, it has been a whole lot.
Oh, that's interesting.
My question, I don't know if the time will still allow us, allow you to answer it.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, but I'm just being curious about how to better use it, like sometimes for literature review. Yes, literature review is very key.
Yes.
When I started interacting with it on Thursday, my first attempt was, okay, I wanted it to review a research paper for me. I had to copy all the text, then paste. Then I received the response that the test was too long. So I was trying to devise another means. Later, I just tell it to critically review the title of the paper by so. That's the authors. Then I specify the journal in which it was published. Then it was able to review that for me. But I was just thinking of, in case of multiple papers together, how can I be able to do that?
The answer to that is, I'm using the latest version of ChatGPT and the fastest, right? And it still cannot do so much with bulk of things. Now, this one can undo a very long one. Like you see the time I put a CV about 4 pages, right? And I asked it to fit it into a template. The only thing is that it tells me that I've asked more than 100 questions today, or within a particular hour range. I should come back by 7:12. But now the general one, I return to the general one, which is ChatGPT 3.5. That's the one everyone have access to by default. Now that one does not remember things. Number one, so you have to always tell it. So it takes time. I use 3.5 for a long period of time, so it takes time. Number two, you will cut so when I'm using 3.5 to review or to check for grammatical error for a work that is about 50 pages, I go by paragraph, two paragraphs each. So it's 2 paragraphs I do, two paragraphs. And that's the only way it's able to answer. But people like this, like plagiarism software that you want to check plagiarism, you put the entire thing. People think they can just load it with it. It's not that smart to work with a bulk of data. So I will enjoin you, cut your work into bit by bit, and know that in as much as you are sitting down with ChatGPT to do that, know you take your time to do that. That's one. Number two, for literature review, I've used it for a lot of literature reviews. And what's literature review for an academic person? A literature review is to know those who have worked on a particular topic, right? Before you embark on it. So the first thing, like I taught the first prompt is to ask, I'm working on these topics. Do you have names of scholars? You are sending some of things who are also working in their area. And then it gives you the name of those scholars. Then you now move on to the next stage. You say, can you give me the references or the list of publications that these guys have written, right? The names that has been listed that are working on that topic, right? And then it gives you the names, the books that they have written. And then you now take the book, that book, this particular book. Can you give a summary of what the author says about an aspect you are relating to? So it now gives you that one. Then you now say, okay, which page of that book was that mentioned?
Okay.
Now gives you that one, like that. Then, so it's no more or less like it's going to just like, I want a literature review for this thing, and then it will just be, it's not going to do that. And that's why it's still your work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. So we have come to the end of this webinar. If there is no pertinent burning question, and there is nothing, I will invite there's no pertinent or burning question. I will invite David to give us. Okay, Esperance has a burning question. So Esperance, please go ahead, make it very brief.
Thank you very much. I'm going to ask if we'll be given a certificate at the end of the workshop.
Yes, ARN does give certificates, but we only, because we are a registered organization in the UK, right? And because we have integrity to protect, and we report every year to the UK government. And our certificate matters because it's an organization filled with erudite scholar, but we don't give certificates without testing people. So if you want a certificate, you will now say you want a certificate. We will now give you your own test based on what we have taught within 3 hours. So that's what you do. So when you get to the Google Classroom, there's a place where the instructors, they will come and tell you, those who want certificates, you indicate in the general stream. So you can indicate in the general stream, I want certificate for this, and you can put a date that you want to do your test. So everything we have taught, we're not going to test you outside what we have taught for 3 hours. And then the certificate is going to have that you attended this, whatever, and you pass all the requirement that shows that you know this about ChatGPT. So that, which means that anybody can take an authority when you want to talk about ChatGPT based on what we have trained today. And then we know that we have given you a certificate that is true and that you have defended. So go to the classroom, drop it if you want certificate, and we'll process it for you.
Thank you very much. You're
welcome. So thank you. Any other burning question before we will give a vote of thanks, before our Associate Director of Administration give a vote of thanks and give normal announcement, and then we call it off for the day. I think I'm done for the day. David, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Augustine. So without wasting much time, we really want to thank you all for participating in today's workshop, and to our instructors, Dr. Danso, as well as Dr. Augustine. We really also want to appreciate you for the time spent and for organizing this and for impacting us on ChatGPT. So yeah, just to inform you, a little announcement that we'll also be having another workshop next month, the month of April, and that will be on MATLAB, as Augustine has mentioned. So I will implore all of you to join. And I can see some people were asking questions regarding the organization, like how to collaborate for research and whatnot. So I'm just going to briefly do a little introduction. I did it at the start of the workshop, so I'm just going to recap for those who joined late to give a brief introduction about African Researchers Network. So we are actually an academic hub, and we are open to both African and non-African researchers. Our membership spans across various academic disciplines and also include PhD researchers and early late career scholars from various universities in Europe, America, Canada, and many African nations. So our objectives actually are to enhance collaboration and networking, to share information on job opportunities and life in general across the globe. We also discuss our publications and ongoing research to improve our visibility of African scholars and authors. And also we try as much as possible to bring African insight into an interdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary approach to research themes across the globe. And our activities, just like what we've just done today, we try as much as possible to organize monthly webinars and workshops with a focus on Africa, or on topics generally that would enhance our professional development. We also have in mind to organize a yearly conference on issues relating to methodologies, approaches to doing research in Africa. And we provide a collaborative framework for various research projects with stakeholders in the US, UK, Canada, and Africa, including funding bodies, research institutions, and publishers as well. And also one of our activities is to enable context for academic interaction towards minding cultural gaps between learning and teaching in Africa and Europe. So once again, I want to thank you all for being a part of today's workshop. And from my end, see you all in our next workshop. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Thanks for attending.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for correction. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
We have young researchers here too in the house.
Yes, the future of Africa is
Amazing.
great, man.